up, y'all? Hello. And welcome to tonight's episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Jesus will return soon? Oh my goodness. We ordered... James, how long ago did we order Chinese food?
I mean,
And
I
it's
guess
been...
we'll have to pay if he gets back. And, I mean, all that loan, big loan from Citibank, I guess we're not about to pay that back either. So, hey.
I know. What the... James... He never did laundry anyway.
Now, honestly, you're gonna get to heaven, and your cell phone's still gonna go off, and it's still gonna be fucking Citibank asking for the like. We haven't received your payment for $309.95. We're just calling to see if you want to set that up right now over the phone for a small fee of $39.99. I can set that up for you right now over the phone.
Oh my god. Yeah. Also, my new favorite thing to do to telemarketers is to accept calls as Agent Sarah of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It always just feel like it gets their spine a little bit standing up. They don't quite get the solar panel pitch that they wanted to, but what is up? That's right. Also, there's many ways to see this. We can see this recorded, and if so, hello. But also, if you set that bell icon to all, because you've liked, you've followed, you've shared, you've sunnied. Well, that allows you to join our live stream. Because, hello, what is up? What is up, Judith? What is up, Marina? What is up?
Yes.
What's up? I'm sorry, Wilson.
This is Mr. Batman. This is Mr. Batman, but I can't talk to you. I'm doing something here, but I'll listen. It will be hard for me to talk, though.
Sinners and saints, sir. That man used to have a lot of D's in the mouth, but now he found Jesus. We're looking for Jesus tonight. That tends to be the topic. What is up? God equals the square root of 1. Jester. What's up, Dave Gar? Making soup. Ooh. And everyone is invited. All right, James. You know where we're going.
I could really go for some like French onion soup. That'd be good right now.
Hello. What is up, Robin? What is up, everyone? We are asking ourselves, is Jesus gonna return soon? And we're thinking 2,000 years is enough. I feel like at a certain point. Anyway,
remember those old
we're watching
commercials, like take the drama out of renting, like when they showed people like racing to Blockbuster to get their DVDs back when people still rented DVDs, but it's like take the drama out of your God returning.
Of your God returning. Blockbuster, those were some good memories, I will say. We are dating ourselves now. But
and of course then every time you go back and you try to rent, then they tell you how much you owe in late fees, like $27.34 in late fees before we can let you rent another one. And looks like you forgot to rewind that VHS tape, Dr. Hovind. Does anyone else use
VHS? Number 3. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Soros was given.
I rewound that DVD.
Continue to take over the West. Okay, sorry. Soros, he just every once in a while wants to update us. Anyway, we're watching a video from Tipping Point with Jimmy Evans. Yes, we're at the tipping point. Yes, Cal tipping. Every time they think it's the end of the world, every year. Like, put your money where your mouth is and bet. Like,
remember, like
the
10
world,
years ago, it was John Hagee with those fucking blood moons, the 16 blood moons that are going to signify the return of Jesus.
everything's the return of Jesus or the Antichrist. That's their other hot topic. James, our bread and butter. That's why we're going back to it. But we're talking about the subject of will Jesus return soon? Spoiler alert. No. James,
Jesus
I
rolled.
would say
Go to non-existence. Do not pass
Well-
Jerusalem. Do not collect 500 shekels.
the obsession with Jerusalem. All three religions. The Desert Trilogy. They strike and strike. But it's okay. No, my favorite is just if you want the best news for anything related with Israel, Palestine, just go to The Onion. They have truly the only unbiased, timeless. You could go to it and it would be just as today. It is like I'm trying to think of something equivalent in food form. There's not many things. Hot dogs. It's like
You see, Ben Shapiro's been flaking out over a Daily Wire. You know, he's all in. As you can imagine.
I'm just not excited for religious war. Heart. Is it in the thousands? Probably. But that's part of what this episode is tonight, and it's the only reason that I'll even do the Israel-Palestine is because there's a bunch of goobers in the middle, and not just us. I mean the two Christians that we're about to put on the screen that are just excited for both sides to lose or one side to win so that the end of the world could come. And then it's like, what's the point then?
Well,
anyway.
You see, Amy, what's going to happen is all the armies of the entire world will all go to the Middle East. Now, why would they do that? Well, because the Bible says they're going to do that. Yeah, they're all going to just go there just to go there so God could come down and destroy them all. You might ask, how could you fit that many troops in one region? Why would you ever pour that many troops into a region like a Lord of the Rings style battle? Well, because that's what the Bible says is going to happen. So it's going to happen that way.
In fairness, just like every once in a while, how you have to pull a Star Wars, I guess in olden times, they had to pull a Lord of the Rings. They're like, we have to do what Tolkien said. And they're like, who's Tolkien?
Remember, John Hagee's like, 100 million soldiers will descend upon Jerusalem. I don't think it would take that many, but...
What's up, Organic? I don't think that many people can fit in there. What's up, Fenton and Doorknob Head and Brian and Praise look, every time. What's up, Big Bad Mama?
Well, you could fit the entire population of the world inside of Jacksonville, Florida. Did you know that, Amy?
Yeah, and for some reason they decided to fight over desert land. That's okay. What were we talking about? Oh, yes. This channel is hosted by a bunch of, well, skeptics and schmucks. Schmucks, skeptics. You decide the order. But after we do our little, our dance and wave, then we will eventually show the opposition viewpoint. And when both of those things are done, well, we often open the mic so that you can tell us what you think about the subject, atheist or theist. liberal or conservative, come as you are. Just, I guess, aim for the sheets. Just do.
Aim's a little off there, Newman. I've only had like 6 wives. I'm starting to get pretty good at this aim, though.
But they're biblically literalists, right? They're fundamentalists, except, James.
Super fundamental.
Except when you say the words, come on. Come on, James.
I'm 58 years old.
Really
You think I'm gonna go the next 40, 50 years? Be by myself? I
follow this book every letter to the dot. Now, my ex-wives, however, not so much.
Except when it says something about me. Then, well, come on, let's be reasonable. You, on the other hand, you wearing women's clothing while having a penis, that's bad. That's evil. That's an abomination.
Is that what Iron and... Now I can't even remember. What's our other pantsless?
Gavin?
Gavin. That's what Gavin's working on down there. Whew. Anyway, once again, how do you want to get under my desk? What's the secret? Well, you have to take yourself seriously and yet somehow end up naked live during a debate. It's like this weird trifecta. It's got to be all of those, too. You can't have one without the other. You have all those, you gain access down here.
You can't have, what's that? You can't have lobster thermidor without a nice white wine. It would be a sacrilege.
Is flat eartherism going out of business lately on the internet? Is it dying down? It's actually okay.
Yeah,
I just can't help it. I'm thinking of Iron.
Yeah,
Iron,
it's
that
still
is ridiculous. Bad boy. Bad. It's still going.
How can you tell about how can you tell the shape of the room based on the lights on the wall? That doesn't make any sense.
See, some of their arguments are so stupid, and I tried to tell James. I was like, I don't want to. I'm trying not to. But like they say, like look at the picture. The picture is 2D. Like you're holding the picture. You're holding the photograph.
It looks flat to me. Looks pretty flat.
How are they functional members of society? These are people that go out, and I assume, like, have jobs that we all have to take granted and use their services for.
They can cross an intersection without dying.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, all the different cars and different things to look at and see and visualize and make a model in their mind, and they can somehow manage to get across there without dying.
Now, see, now here I can't help but think about it. I'm doing it. See, I read, if you go listen to the Birds Are Not Real guy who went after conspiracy theorists, he said one of the worst things we could do is actually make them feel stupid. But it's so hard. Some of the things that they say, once again, we went to space, ladies and gentlemen. Wait. Okay, Soros does confirm that we went to space. Okay. Right, Skeptic Channel. What were we talking about? James, did you know I have ADD?
There you go. You can't have gas pressure without a container.
It's just because they deny gravity. Yeah, if you're gonna deny gravity, like how the gases stay on this Earth is gonna be a complete mystery.
No. You see, the Earth is a flat plane that's being constantly accelerated upwards at the velocity that gravity is supposed to work at.
Being thrown
right?
up.
Yeah, we're constantly going up, never ending. So that creates the effect of gravity.
They're almost always religious. Also, can I just point that out? Even Iron down there, even though he believes in some, who the knows, but but we love you. We love you, creationist. We just want you to, maybe take a little bit of that literalism. You're like at a 9. If we could just get that down to like a 3, I can just look. I'm not even asking you to be an atheist. Just like, just celebrate the holidays and chill out, maybe. Anyway,
SFT is going to be doing a video like debunking like liberal Christianity, like making it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. Here's how you separate that out. On one hand, you have the street cred of a fundamentalist who says, listen, it says there was a talking donkey, therefore Shrek, not too far from a documentary. And then you have the other people that are like, listen, it means all the adversary that we went through. Was there a guy that resurrected? Who knows? But God speaks to me in crystals. I would actually much still rather take our crystal loving friends, because as much as, they're adhering to the fan fiction when you're a fundamentalist, I'd rather you just be a decent human being. Once again, I don't want to tie any political faction. You could be technically, you could be a conservative and a non-fundamentalist. But liberal Christianity, speaking of that branch, please be a liberal Muslim. Be a liberal. Most of the Jews are they're so fucking secular. That's my thing. I have such a love-hate relationship with that concept, because
he was naked during that debate, though, Big Bad Mama, in the hot tub when he debated Amy.
Yes. Oh, he was in a hot tub. That's not even a joke. That's not even a joke.
Hot tub. Yeah, no,
he was
naked in a hot tub.
Can't make this shit up.
Naked is the day he was born.
But yes, I want all countries to be secular. Now, I think Israel does a pretty good job of being fairly secular. I'm not a big fan of their right-wing government right now. I'm not a big fan of Netanyahu. However, I am a big fan in general of the Jews being mostly secular. They're like almost there. Mwah. That's the pipeline that I'm looking for all the other religions. And it will, because they're affected by a single thing. It's called age. It just gets boring. Eventually, you see this with the fucking Church of England. It just gets boring, doesn't it? Little bit. All these other
they had their fun burning people at the stake centuries ago. It's like, we're not really going to.
James, it was like frats. They were hazing. So you burn a woman or two. It happens. But now we're getting older. We have a mortgage. You can't crusade like you once did. Anyway.
Lacey misses Amy. Yeah, we're pre-Kimball show tonight, so Slicey can be with us.
Woo! What's up? Yes, and this is our new thing. James and I we're trying to find consistency, because that's my worst thing. That we're gonna have Thursday. We're gonna try 6:30. The mashup. We'll see.
Amy time, so 6:30 to 7:30, but close enough.
Listen, that's built into the TOS of the channel that we don't have a TOS of. Can there be a TOS of a TOS? I just imagine now just someone doing that. I feel like that would be extremely non-binding.
Non-binary?
Non-binary.
Extremely non-binary.
Extremely non-binary, yes. which also triggers them. James, it's been how long since I have to at least I very specifically, not you, but I have to have an LGBTQ agenda, which sucks personally as someone who needs to get better at just having agendas. And so, it's been now, so we've mentioned it.
I mean,
but I just like triggering them really.
Like Richard Simmons should come in spandex to inject you with your estrogen any second now.
Yes, very specifically.
Yeah.
I point here, but you all know where it's really going. Anyway,
yeah. They can read between the lines.
They could use their imagination. We're talking about Jesus coming back. Listen, Jesus, come already. Holy moly, you've had permission.
Yeah,
do you know how many people have been on their knees
begging for permission,
apparently begging for you to come? Like, maybe it's a problem. I don't know. You get older, James. You get 2,000 years old. I know how it is. It makes too much sense, really, if you think about it. Anyway, all right. Did we do the shilling, the liking, the following, all the voo? Sending love. You can support us in many ways. You can send in super thanks if this is an upload. Boo boo boo. You can send super chats right now because we're live. Oh my goodness. Is this the future? Wait, no, this is the present. Okay, hold on. Let's catch the present. Okay, that was my abstract improv for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we also have channel membership. I'm FUCUS.
PENIS.
James, I never said what I was focusing on. Oh my. You can join our channel membership and get our evolving badge system, which triggers creationists. Anything that has the word evolve. They just see their kid playing Pokemon and they just pick up the Game Boy and they throw it across. They don't have Game Boys anymore. They're DS. What do they have anymore? And throw it across the table. My parents used to call everything Game Boy. Now I'm calling it a Game Boy. God damn it, James.
A Game Boy? Yeah.
Any system that a kid basically has in their hand is a Game Boy, if you think about it.
Oh.
Channel membership, you hit the button, and then Patreon. Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. There it is. I love my Nintendo DS too. What's up, Slicey Slicer? What's up, Maya? Sumami? Purple? Everybody. And then here is the Patreon right there. Woo! It helps us keep the lights on and also gets you some unique VIP perks and access to behind the scenes and early access shows. That's right. But only with the permission of your pharmacist. Including amazing supporters such as Chris Disciple, sending love to Chris Disciple, reminding us that religion, you can be a religious person as long as you're skeptical. I guess we're not forcing you. You can't force anybody, but we'd prefer that you're skeptical about your beliefs because I think James, myself, we'd be a little worried if it's the people who say that they're 110% convinced of things that it's like, okay. But
yeah. I'm 5,000% sure.
And we sometimes get flack just because we say we're 99%. I know but that is the presuppositionalist attack. I'm going to cough, excuse me. But the presuppositional mode is you have 1% doubt. Thus, you cannot have true knowledge of anything. You haven't proved the
I have
impossibility of something.
worked very hard on my degrees. I have 2 actual and 27 honorary degrees.
From Church of Church University. Oh, sending so much love to the Sinister Porpoise, who for a lovely $2, I do even before having to say it, we just have to do our super chat dance. This is where. All right, listen, I might be trolling the creationists. Anyway,
thank you.
Sending so much to Sinister. 30 days, and I have 1 more degree than Dr. Hoven. Woohoo! Congratulations, Sinister.
Very hard. Very long and very hard on my degrees, Amy. Very, very long and very, very hard.
I'm trying to think. What's that one word that your university college has that his didn't? It rhymes with meredited. Sheredited? Heredited. I just can't get it. I don't know what it is.
So basically, you take the college and everything to a group of woke people, and then they decide whether it's a real school or not. Yeah. Okay. You do that.
But yes, sending so much love to Sinister. Accredited. But they go to University of Basement. That's okay. That's where Ken Hoven went.
Very long and very hard. Work on my degree, Amy. Long and hard.
And sending love to Shane Billowitz, who's saying, OMG, Amy, I absolutely love your top. Thank you so very much, Shane. I have been kind of going crazy about this top too. I don't know what it is, but I love like the whole ruffles and yes. So thank you so very much, Shane. I am in absolute love with it. And now you just confirmed it for me. So now I feel validated. Thank you so very much, Shane.
You can handle it, it's fat.
What's up, Captive? What's up, everyone? And I think sending love to Dave Gar. We saw him in chat. Dave Gar is reminding all of us. Well, the world is thick. We were just talking about. I guess I was just testing the water to see if the internet had given up flat Earth. Oh my goodness!
It dies hard.
We're gonna have to pull a Die Hard. What?
It's coming up on Christmas season.
It's true. All right.
Oh, we can wait for
one of us
is
going to have to wear sunglasses, and the other is going to have to climb through something like a ventilation draft or something.
We can
anyway.
It's really stuck up on us this year.
It did. Do you know why? Can I have to just, once again, I don't mean to like dye my hair super blue, okay? Once again, I get it. I have a lip ring. I'm basically one step away from it. But like, it's been really warm for October and November, right? I'm not the only one. Like, been a little bit like,
we haven't
like
had
this
a genuine cold day yet. One day or two where it was kind of cool, but nothing like legit cold.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I'm starting to understand it even better now. They say that we worship time. Okay, I guess pollution deniers, well, here is the time. The time is gonna keep on cooking, and we're gonna keep on cooking. Oh my God, James, my hair, I think, did it turn blue? Is it pink?
I mean,
Pink?
maybe just the necklace you got on. Kind of.
It is. I'm telling you, it's the estrogen. Yeah, but what can I say? I just don't want our planet to be Venus. Anyway, sending so much love to you. And it's round. It's very round.
Dr. Josh does have a good COVID impression. So does Atheist Junior. So does
They
Hard
both
Rod. I
do.
think Hard Rod does a good job too.
Oh my goodness, James, we have to have like a Kent Hovind impression off, or just like showcasing. That would be fantastic. He's basically been disappeared off the record too. I'm very proud of the work I've been doing. I wonder if he could say the same thing. Da 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 da. He bought subscribers.
He's got a debate coming up on T, so he's still doing those things.
Does he? I want to contact him, and I want to get more people. I have to contact Pieter. I have been such a bee to him, but it's been crazy. I should just tell him the stories that I have told James. I will tell you all war stories one day in my bits. Anyway, sending so much love. Just in the end, they're good war stories. Good. The ones in the heart. Speaking of the heart, Rachel Holland, reminding us that we should just, go to a club and get us a femboy if you're into BDSM. Probably not go to the nations around you and just nab women and children. But they're pro women and children. That's their two shticks. I love that. They're pro-family,
Very
James.
much. Very pro-family.
The biggest insult. Pro their family. That really is the slogan. Because I think family, community, tradition, even if you are doing some secular, which they all are. Have you gone to America? Do you think Christmas is a religious holiday? But they get triggered.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. Which way to the electronics section?
Exactly. I'm looking for the Reese's that are, in the shape of reindeer, please. Okay.
I thought you were going for those 2-pound Reese's cups we used to sell.
James. And let me tell you, my favorite part about working in retail was the day after. Can I just tell you that it's really when candy is half off, okay? And it just gets cheaper from there. Just the days that go on, the cheaper the candy gets. That's why I like holidays. I will celebrate any holiday that has food. No holiday that has fasting. This is not a diet program. This is your superstition. What were we talking about? Rachel Holland, Dave Gard, Dale Pastel, Chris Disciple. Did we say Dale? Dale Pastel! Sending love.
Thanks, Dale.
Sending so much love to Beth and Show. I saw a lot of you giving me love in chat as well, so I want to give that love back. You know what I'm talking about, and I'm sending it back. It's just easier in song form. Harder for atheists to grieve. But at least we grieve at the time we should. I don't want to grieve twice. Just make it way more painful. Do.
Jesus is coming back, Amy.
I know. I can't help it. Still sending love to
Jesus.
Cooper.
He's coming back.
Can't. He's coming back. I can't help it. I am still sending love to him. Fully sending love to Cooper. Okay, moving forward. Sending so much love to Ian Davenport. Sending so much love, reminding us as I shout into the microphone. I'm sorry, everyone's ears. Reminding us apologetics are basically trash at this point. James, even a few years ago, I feel like they were not more sophisticated, but there was just a wider range. I feel like they're coalescing. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's an evolution thing going on here. Like, there's some natural selection. I don't know. Like,
we're getting limited. We're getting pushed in certain directions, and they're retreating in certain ways.
if I hear the words necessary one more time, like, sir, it's necessary for you to shove this up your butthole. That's the only thing that I.
That's right, it is, sir. I'm ready for it, sir.
The notion of being ex-gay is so stupid. If you don't know who we're talking about or who we're teasing about, it's just this preacher.
A few of
You have to
them.
have credentials to be a preacher. You just have to be a preacher. You just have to say, I'm a preacher, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You preach. It doesn't necessarily mean anybody's listening, but hey, you're still preaching.
You're preaching.
Stand on the street corner and just talk to nobody. You're
James, to be a comedian, all you need to go is on an open mic. So, I guess all you got to do is. Exactly. Put your money where your mouth is. And that tends to be with Ken Hovind on a whales. What were we talking about?
A humpback whale.
Guy. A humpback whale. It's a fantastic word. Ian Davenport and Regos sending love to Regos, reminding us we do, James. I swear to Bob. And we've been long due. We're doing our Skeptic Book Bible study. We're going to find out. I'm going to figure out times for everything. What it has to be, James, is we're just going to have to be less impulsive and more structured because of me. You are shy. I know who you have always been the structured. But I need to figure out a way to juggle. And I'm almost caught up on both of my fancy things. Let me tell you. I definitely feel like a teacher. When I first started, like a freaking, it seems like years ago. But I definitely now I am a K through 12 teacher. I am a professor. There's no angle at which I do not teach, and so I was once shy about it, but now I haven't. But I like having students. I like being able to teach. It's fun. I hope I make it fun for them. Now I'm just patting myself on the back. Oh my God, it feels good. Whew. Anyway, what are we talking about? Regos, I'm sending so much love. What I'm really saying, actually, and before we do this, and because I'm gonna go on I'm gonna be right back in a second, and then we are going to do the opposition. But I'll say what I wanted to say. More than just the patting myself on the back, setting up for it is important as non-believers or skeptics, even dare I say the word atheists, many of us are, among all of the pagans and agnostics and deists. It is important for us all to have a community. A lot of us have lost our community. And so one of the most important things I think James and I have tried to do here is set that up. And it's more than just a podcast. I think, to both of us, this is our, I think we believe that we are doing the right thing when we make all of, as silly as we are in trying to build all of this. And so we love you. we are going to make sure that community is here for you and here for all of us. And so we are now going to talk about Jesus apparently having a bunch of problems. I don't know, James. He just
There you go, Superman.
he's stroking and nothing comes out. And us Jedi.
Overweight cats.
And us everybody and us cats. Exactly. Us misfits. The people that thought that they did not belong, you do belong. Send so much Skeptic Scoundrels and Maya and Liano and Nod and Daryl and everybody. Vesta, if I said your name, I'll keep on sending love to you. I'm going to be right back for one moment, and then we're going to do this opposition opinion. But let me tell you, James, I don't know if Jesus is going to return.
I'm sure Skeptic, they need to be fed more. The meows would indicate they want more food. So you don't want to listen to them meow all night and day long. And they won't stop. So you might as well just feed them again. That's what they want everybody to think anyway. But yeah, we're taking another look at stuff related to current events because the Christians in particular, they seem to be they are so pumped up. They are so animated for this war that's going on over there. They are happy as pigs in shit. They really think something's about to happen. This thing they've all been waiting for their whole lives, maybe finally about to happen. And well, it's not. It never does. But that reality dies really, really, really hard. So 20 years from now, they'll still be hanging on every burp and shudder that comes out of that region and trying to make whatever's happening at the time seem like Jesus is coming. Of course, a lot of them will be dead. The ones that are alive now will be dead then, but there'll be a new batch that'll come up. And this is what they've always done. They've exactly what's happening now. They've done for 2,000 years, looking at whatever's going on in the world, trying to make that fit with their Bible. And yeah. Thinking there's going to be this big battle, even though we don't really have battles like that anymore. You never want to get you never get all the armies of the world in one region. Why would that ever happen? Well, I mean, that way they're all in one spot, so God can destroy them, right? Yeah. But you're going to see how they analyze the news, what they look for, the kind of stretches and logical leaps they're making for that. It is fun to point it out. Fun when you're on the other side of it. You can see exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it. You can illustrate it. But yeah, this video, I think it came out like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, but it's still pretty relevant. The battle is spiritual war. What does that even mean? Yeah, they were Ukraine. Well, because they need to get Russia involved in some kind of conflict, because you really wouldn't be able to have like a global scale conflict without Russia, the other nuclear powers in it. So, yeah, they were harping up this war in Ukraine. It's gonna, but that seems to have gone into stalemate, stagnation. There's not really a whole lot going on over there. It's Armageddon, the Battle of Megiddo, yeah, basically. You can see there's lots of actually really bad, so bad they're funny B movies about that, like the apocalypse. You almost have to make a B movie because you can never make any type of logical or coherent reason why all the well, I mean, it's in the Bible. It says our army's got to be destroyed, so we just have to do it. We have to send them all into one spot. Of course, when they were writing that, they didn't know nearly as much about the scope of the shape and size of the Earth. So it's clear. Obviously, they wrote that basically as if the Middle East was the entire world. It's all they really knew about. The authors, anyway. Not that other people didn't know about it, but these care about what was going on anywhere else. Oh yeah, Toy Monkey with symbols. Yeah. What is that? An Exorcist movie? Oh yeah, lots of Exorcist movies out. Lots of them really comical too. Just or just silly.
All right, I'm back with a cat. I'm back with 2 cats. But we are about to switch into the opposition viewpoint. And yeah, it is just so silly that they are, in essence, rooting for the end of the world. They are happy that war is going on. Because to them, that's like a symbol. That means, though it's always one of those like catch-22, like, or it's one of those heads you win, tails. Heads I win, tails
was that
you
in
lose.
Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonders? Was that what I'm thinking of? The symbol? Was that in Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonders, where Crow asks if there's any vodka cheaper than Popov? Which is a line I love that line. Anyway.
But is Jesus coming back? We are about to find out. We are watching from Tipping Point with Jimmy Evans. We are going to be having some fun as they tell us that the world is about to come to an end in a giddy manner. Please share and tag us at James W. and Amy Newman. But with that, let's get into the fun. Jesus will return soon.
Evans. I have a special program for you today. I have Jeff Kinley joining me. He's an end times expert. He's written many books.
Also, he is not on uppers. We are doing 1.5.
Books on the subject. We're talking today about his new book, God's Grand Finale, talking about the book of Revelation. This is a book that many people have a hard time understanding. Jeff has done a great job of breaking it down.
Because the book of Revelation is cray-cray.
To be very understandable, we're talking about the symbolism of the book of Revelation. We're talking about the Antichrist, the rapture, the rebuilt temple. We're talking about all the different things. A lot of people, don't understand the millennium, all those kinds of things. Jeff is
Falcon.
Really fascinating, and he's done a great job writing this book on the book of Revelation. And we're beginning with an overview, with an update of what's happening in Israel right now, the current events there. Stay tuned. We have a lot coming up for you.
Woo-hoo! For war!
Hey, you're watching this on YouTube. We know who subscribes and who doesn't. And about half of you guys that come on and watch this regularly, you're not subscribed to this channel. And we're putting...
Yeah, because we're just here to laugh. We're not really here to subscribe.
But it is just one of those things where if they're being persecuted, they view that as the sign of end times. And if they are in control and they're the ones doing the persecuting, they also view that as a sign of end times and that Jesus is coming back. So it's like, pick one.
More content on YouTube all the time. when you subscribe, it means you know when something comes
Exactly.
out from me. And so subscribe. Take just a minute and subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed right now. And also like this, because when you like it, it means more people find out about it. A lot of people looking for answers right now related to the end times, related to Israel, the things that we talk about. So when you like it, it just means more people find out about it, and you're actually helping somebody else in the process. So just take just a minute if you would, hit the subscribe button there, and also the like button.
That.
Also, I want to let you know about a new book that we have coming out. Now, Mark Hitchcock and I wrote this book. It's What's Next? Israel-Gaza War, Connecting Today's Headlines to Tomorrow's Prophetic Events. Now, we wrote this very quickly concerning Israel's history. You know, people are talking about, does the land belong to Israel? We talk about that. We talk about what's happening right now with the war. Also,
we'll see how well that ages.
It's going to happen, where this is heading. Now, this was supposed to come out.
Land belongs, unfortunately, to the people who have the military troops on there. But unfortunately, lines have been drawn arbitrarily. And this is the mess that we have to deal with.
Oh yeah,
now.
Daryl, they're happy about it. They can't wait. They're as happy as pigs in shit about this. War? What war in the Middle East? All right, Jesus coming back.
Oh, it's getting good now.
Come on, Netanyahu! Come on.
The book that many people have a hard time understanding. Jeff has done a great job of breaking it down to be very understandable. We're talking about the symbolism of the book of Revelation. We're talking about the Antichrist, the rapture, the rebuilt temple. We're talking about all the different things that a lot of people, don't understand, the millennium, all those kinds of things.
Never gonna happen.
It's really fascinating, and he's done a great job writing this book on the book of Revelation. And we're beginning with an overview, with an update of what's happening in Israel right now, the current events there. Stay tuned. We have a lot coming up for you. Hey, you're watching this on YouTube, and we want you to know we know who subscribes and who doesn't. And about half of you guys that come on and watch this regularly, you're not subscribed to this channel. Now, what's next? Israel-Gaza war, connecting today's headlines to tomorrow's prophetic events. Now, we wrote this very quickly concerning Israel's history. People are talking about, does the land belong to Israel? We talk about that. We talk about what's happening right now with the war, and also prophetically what we believe is going to happen, where this is heading. Now, this was supposed to come out today on Amazon, but for some reason, Amazon flagged this book. They held it up. We don't know why. And so this has...
I'm sorry.
Jeff Bezos flagged it.
Information that people need right now. The timing of this book is very important. We want to get it into your hands. So we're sending this out free as an ebook to all of our paid subscribers to endtimes.com. If you would like to receive this book this week, go to endtimes.com. You can pay $7, become a monthly partner. And if you want to drop your subscription after 1 month, that's great. You'll still receive the book. But if you want to continue to subscribe, it just means you get all of our content that comes out. If you go right now to endtimes.com for $7, we'll send you a free copy
of my DVD number 5. Oh, wait, no. This is his book about Israel and Gaza, which I'm sure...
If you're an extra subscriber, you can get DVD number 7, which will have some knotted pictures of Mr. Batman.
Sorry, cats go in, cats go out. But yes, it probably would.
Oh, Mr. Batman goes in, Mr. Batman goes out.
Next Gaza war from Dr. Mark Hitchcock and I. Stay tuned for the interview from Jeff Kinley. I'm delighted today to welcome back on the show a special guest. Jeff Kinley is a former pastor and best-selling author of 40 books. He's a recognized expert and thought leader in the field of Bible prophecy, having authored 12 books on the subject. Jeff connects with this generation, engaging them with biblical truth in a fresh, practical way. He's a graduate of the University of Arkansas and Dallas Theological Seminary. Jeff's weekly podcast, the Vintage Truth Podcast, and the Prophecy Pros Podcast with Todd Hampson are heard in over 120 countries. His articles and interviews have also been featured in the Huffington Post, the Washington Post, and the Jerusalem Post. Jeff is joining me today to discuss his new book, God's Grand Finale. Jeff, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good to be back with you.
Well, and we're going to talk about your book, God's Grand Finale. I love this book, written a book about the book of Revelation, which so many people have a lot of.
Like, I just want to tell the future. If someone is watching this 1,000 years from now, this is where you can laugh.
Confusion about
God's
this book,
great finale, like almost like God's climax, maybe.
Yeah. Though I guess why even 1,000 years? Why not just 10 years or 100 years? Because really, these schmucks should put like a specific date, but they don't have the chutzpah.
I want to talk to you. You're an end times expert, and you're an author and speaker and theologian. And what is your take? The war started on...
I'm sorry, but that's like being a ghost expert outside of the movie Ghostbusters. Are you, though?
October 7th, and we're now in the third week of the war in Israel. What is your take related to the end times? I mean, obviously, this is a tectonic shift that is happening. What's your take about the war in Israel?
Well, I was actually scheduled to fly out the very next day to Israel and lead a group over there. So
how happy they are. I can't have it. Like, it makes me smile, and yet it's hard. Oh my goodness. But this is their way of getting the world to end.
So obviously dramatically, but right now what we're seeing, Jimmy, is just a boiling cauldron of uncertainty that's happening over there right now. We really don't know when the next shoe is going to drop, what Iran's going to do, what Turkey's going to do. There's been a lot of sword rattling on both ends of that. China's moving assets.
Who knows what
then,
could drop all over the world?
Hey, in 5 years from now, you could just write another book about whatever's going on then, and people could buy that book.
Exactly.
See, it
Oh
never
my
ends.
goodness!
Like,
There's
well,
a
since
war
the last book,
going
a
on?
few other things happened.
Yes, I mean, there's always going to be bad shit going on. I mean, I'm the ultimate optimist. However, I mean, come on, to just say there is a war and oh my goodness, maybe there's gonna be more wars. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a sign of end times. It's just a sign of
earthquakes in diverse places.
Humans
Newman.
being dicks. Yeah, exactly. Earthquakes in diverse places. That could never happen. Oh, I get my chair back. That could never happen.
Into the Middle East as well, into the ocean, now expanding that as well. So it really is shaping up to be something very globally impacting, because now, of course, the United States also has sent ships and planes and bombs and assets as well to Israel. I'll tell you the thing to me that
we're not going to
is how
not be involved in the party. Come on, defense contractors got money to make.
And I'm okay with going after religious fundamentalists like that are violent, like that actually kill. And so the terrible thing is the civilians, the amount of civilian lives on just both sides is just going to be terrible. And so, yeah, really no one wins.
That's a good question.
Good job, religion.
My ass, a very poignant question out there.
What's that? I just want to become an end time expert. That's right. You have to live through multiple end times. It happens every once in a while. It's the end time.
Crunch.
You hold on one second, James. James, hold on one second. You became robot, or Soros almost cut off our internet bill.
Well, it also has to do with on the back of a box of Frosted Flakes. You can mail that in with $3.99 money order, and you can get your certificate as an end times expert.
Exactly. But the cool thing is it comes with a plaque. And so it's kind of worth it. Look, everyone needs a jingle. I stand by it. And yes, that's right, Lytle. Probably. That's kind of our goal. We can't help it. These guys, they have, every one of these guys. Oh. And so they're reaching people that think this is serious. They really listen to this and they go, this is a bunch of expertise. This is indeed an end times expert. All right, let's get back into it. Jesus will return soon, though I feel like if this was an Uber Eats order, I don't know. I don't know if it would be like a 5-star rating.
Okay, like the driver went to a house and stopped, and he's been in there for 3 hours. He ain't coming with your damn food.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's been 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Into God's prophetic narrative, in the sense that it is getting the attention of those Muslim nations around Israel, as Ezekiel 38 and 39 prophesy, and it's causing them for their temperature to go up, their pulse to increase, and so it's really kind of, I think, setting the stage what eventually will become the war of Gog and Magog. Right. And then, as you know, this obviously is the prime time in history for a lone figure to step into that mess and bring some sort of peace to it. So, yeah, it really is, and on multiple fronts, really dovetailing into God's prophetic narrative.
Exactly. I mean, you see the geopolitics.
It just fits so perfectly. Different religions fighting over Jerusalem.
And don't you see it, Amy? That's when King Charles is going to go there and demand to be worshipped at the Temple Mount. Oh, what? Wait, not King Charles, Brad Pitt. Oh, no, not Brad Pitt, Barack Obama. That's it, Obama. It's going to be Obama. Or Steven Tyler. He'll go there, demand to be worshipped, and everybody will worship him.
Gets a chance to be the Antichrist. I want to at least get a chance at being the Antichrist once.
Hillary Clinton. It's going to be Hillary. It'll be Hillary Clinton.
That would be interesting. Let me tell you, a fun back and forth would be Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris, because then it would force us to have a woman president. Be interesting for 2028. Let's hope we come on surviving as a nation to 2028. All right. Politics sucks. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Politics. It all sucks. Jesus will return soon.
You see the world as Ezekiel foretold it, Isaiah, Zechariah, many of the Old Testament prophets foretold it. And this is not going to go back to normal. Do you agree with that statement?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What really surprised me, in fact, I said this early on. I said,
Can I tell you? It will 100% go back to normal. In fact, this is really why it happened, is things were going back to normal. Like, they were going back to normal so much that everyone was kind of just calm. And what happened was the terrorists who, I mean, I'll let a little bias. Let me just say, I'm not part of the Hamas fan club. Like, I have seen, at least from their interviews, that they said that I get it. We were elected to govern. We don't really care about governing. We're about making sure that it is a constant battle. And let me just say to people who want to have a constant battle, go yourself. Because that sucks for the average Palestinian. The majority of Palestinians who now have to have their lives upturned because you wanted to pick a fight with people who were fucking dancing.
Well,
don't go after.
Unfortunately, that's how. And we've seen that in.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry. Soros did revoke James's rights right there. He was about to make a point that was so spicy. I'm sorry. That. My goodness. Yeah. Oh my God. Transported to Gitmo? Well, that's a little much. They're telling me they're going to allow him to come back. He signed a plea deal? Huh. James, you were about to go to Gitmo. Soros was about to send you there, and now you're back. It's good to have you back.
Well, and we've seen it even in the aftermath of this whole Arab Spring thing that happened a few months ago, when we decided to meddle in some of these revolutions over there, which kind of blew up. But whatever. We've discovered in the aftermath of that in these type of parliamentary style democracies where there's 27 different parties, if you can control 35 to 40%, that's enough to form a government. So even though 60% of the people don't favor this radical style of Islamicism, the 40% that do end up controlling it because the rest of them are so fractured and split up.
Yes, and basically the fundamentalists are able to keep control because all you need is that little sector.
Yeah.
The thing I was going to say was actually much sillier than that. It's just also the plot of the second book of my angel story. I'm finishing my first, right? But he gets voted in 33%. 33%, because that's all. Or I guess you would need 34. I don't know. Anyway, Jesus will return soon, and it's kind of been a while. I feel like he said he was going out for cigarettes.
to have a lot of support for Israel, but it's going to pivot quite quickly. And of course, you've got massive protests in New York and in London and all over the world, really anti-Jewish protests, anti-Israel protests. And so, this whole idea of anti-Semitism that the Bible predicts will be prevalent in the last days, we're seeing that heat up as well. So, yes, it's not surprising on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's very exciting in the sense that God
and
has
there's never been a time where anti-Semitism has been on the rise, and so it must be the end times. I actually seem to remember it was like a war where it was like everyone everyone always remembers the sequels, and so it was like we were all getting together. So, but no, that wasn't the end of the world.
But you want to know who is the real anti-Semite in this case? Amy, what happened to those Jewish people who were killed by the Hamas terrorists after they died? What happened to them? Where did they go?
Oh, they go to heaven.
Oh, no, they don't believe in Jesus, so they go to hell.
Oh, they don't believe in Jesus. That's true.
Yeah,
I was going to say, from
Jesus,
their perspective, they go to. Well, if they don't believe in Jesus,
the Jewish people were killed by the. No, I'm speaking from God's perspective, who is the real anti-Semite. What does he do with the people killed by these terrorists? Well, he does something even worse to them. So who's the real anti-Semite in that case?
James, all I know is that the Jews don't even believe in a hell and a heaven.
Yeah.
And all of these religions seem to be fighting over who can get there first. Oh my goodness. So once again, not really a fan of any version of fundamentalism, and especially of the Abrahamic traditions, though once again, they hate the liberal versions of them.
us to be in these last days and to witness this and to know that the return of Christ could be very soon.
Well, exactly what you said at the beginning, Jeff. Someone asked me the other day if I thought this would result in World War III. Ultimately, Armageddon is going to come. That's going to be at the end of the tribulation, the second coming. But there is a person, I believe the Antichrist is on the earth right now. I said earlier in this year that I believe that artificial intelligence, 2023 is the year.
That was a bit of a pivot. Okay.
I think he was.
So now AI is the Antichrist?
AI. I think he was one of the ones. He might have been.
And we're talking about Jesus will return soon. And so that still seems like a little, but I get it. They think everything is going to be the Antichrist. They think every political figure is going to be the Antichrist. Everyone basically they dislike is the Antichrist. But yes.
Of artificial intelligence. This is the year commercially where artificial intelligence was introduced to the world. And I believe that artificial intelligence is announcing the arrival of the Antichrist because 2 Thessalonians 2 says he will supernaturally deceive the world in a supernatural way. Well, the artificial intelligence is supernatural. It's way beyond natural. And the greatest concerns, Elon Musk, the founder of...
No, it's natural. Do you know what a computer is? Do you know what software is? It's natural. Dad.
No, it's magic.
That's the only thing I have to respond to that.
It's not natural. It's magic.
If you believe
Hocus pocus.
in magic.
It's not really a circuitry and software behind it. It's witches and demons.
Good, we can burn them.
GPT, their greatest concerns are mass disinformation, that AI will be used in that manner. So the Antichrist obviously will have that at his disposal. But I believe that Jesus said that there would be distress of nations with perplexity, and perplexity means there's no answers. And so the perplexity of this situation in the Middle East right now, the Antichrist has got to be ready.
Get rid of religion, and then the children afterwards will be okay because they'll forget why they were fighting.
To come on the scene, and that also means that the rapture is going to happen pretty soon. You agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. And obviously, we don't know the exact timetable of that, but it just tells us to look up because our redemption draws nigh. And with the artificial intelligence, what's very interesting to me is the acceleration with which this whole technology can really get traction in the world. And on the one hand, you've got a world populace that is so easily.
It's going to be Jesus first AI, James. I don't know. I would still bet on AI. Probably my.
What's that game
Hey.
like a battle simulator where you can simulate like any battle, and somebody did like one Jesus versus 5,000 velociraptors.
Oh my goodness. I've seen videos of that, but I don't know what the actual game is that they are using to render that. I play too much Civ, but only because I can turn my brain off when I do. I play too much Sims. But yes, my favorite Tom Rabbit counter-apologetic, I should say, would be talking about how it's basically transgender Jesus. Because if God and Jesus are truly the same, then God was genderless, because God can't have a gender, even though they use he, but then became a man. Because they always point that out. They're always like, he had the dilly dong right there. He was a man. He didn't apparently use it. Which I always find funny. Multiple generations of people not having sex, married.
He used it to urinate just like I do, sir. He used it.
How is it possible to have just an entire family of virgins? That is bullshit. That is complete and utter bullshit. Multiple 30-year-old men, virgins, with just this woman just giving birth to this man who somehow is God. I never understood the Trinity. I don't think I ever will. Like, I understand it from like a Pokemon level. Like, if we're making a game, that's okay. But like in reality, just like that's not how evolution works. That's how they think evolution works.
Deceived by the whatever's on social media, and then you've got the church who's biblically ignorant about the
That's
end
right.
times, and so it opens up believers as well to a lot of this deception too. So that's why more than at any time in human history, Jimmy, the church has got to be married to the Word of God and grounded in the Word, so that we can look with biblical.
James, time to get hitched. We got to marry the Word of God.
Yeah, this shit they've been reading for 2,000 years, they still can't tell you exactly what it means or come up with coherent doctrines. Yeah, we'll just go based on that.
Is it also creepy to anyone else, the words Lord and Savior? Like, someone said Jesus is my king today, and like, yo, how is that not like having a B language? Like, oh yeah, he's my king. This is a relationship that doesn't exist, but that's okay. That's right, Fenton. And somehow, like, Jesus is always jacked. There's never like a meek, unless he's on the cross, he's allowed to be. But if he's walking and talking, that Jesus better be pumping.
He lifts. He does lift.
He lifts. That's right.
But I remember the Fear of the God episode that we did, Fear of the Lord, and the guy, the pastor, just starts calling him Dada. Like, if God's going to be our Dada, how can we be afraid of him?
That is a man who is committed to his relationship with Dada. There's nothing else I can say. That almost beats, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we've had at least one person tell us they've had sexual relationships with God. And we asked which one was the top, and he said they switched. I don't even know what my life is now. Anyway, Jesus will return soon.
In the world and detect what's really going on.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about your book. Now, your book is called God's Grand Finale, but it says wrath.
The world is on fire over here. Oh my goodness. Well, if we keep on polluting it.
Grace and glory in Earth's last days. And the thing I appreciate about your book,
But they
Jeff,
like
first
it.
off, a person, if you want
They
to understand
want
the book of
that.
Revelation, which a lot of people don't understand, it is a difficult book if you just read through it and you don't really understand what's being said. But
what a wonderful sell.
Your book comes from the perspective of God's character, in God.
You're not going to understand a goddamn word of this. But hey, buy it. It has God in the title. Be a good Christian.
As a person, who is God as a person? And so, and you begin your book by talking about the first 10 words in the Bible and what that says about God. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The very first verse in the Bible says, in the beginning, God.
I cannot stop getting over how happy he looks. What the hell? Like, they're talking about the end of the world, but I guess it's his book, right? They brought up his book, though he was this level of happy before.
Created the heavens and the
Looking
earth.
at the view counter and seeing dollar signs, like, okay, if even 1% of them buy my book, hey, how much am I going to make off that?
Yeah, they don't. I think someone said this in chat earlier. Like, why does he want money anyway? Why does he want to? We should give it for free. I mean, it's the end of the world. It's currency, right? What's it matter? What's up, Dave? Listen. And at that point, who wouldn't want to come for a hung Jesus?
The 19th century by the name of Herbert Spencer, he said this. He said that everything we need to know about life in the universe can be understood by these words: time, force, energy, space, and matter. And in Genesis 1:1, we've got time in the beginning, force God, energy created, space the earth, the heavens, and matter the earth. Wow. And so by
that is some interpretive bullshit.
Own admission, God explains everything in the very first verse of the Bible. And you know what's great about that is that is God really revealing himself through general revelation, through what is made, through creation. And then you get all the way to Revelation. Of course, the whole Bible is the revelation of God. But I think of it this way, as
every part of it, James, every last Duke that we have counted, and there were more than 60, which is a lot. In fact, I feel like if you have that many Dukes, it's not really that special of a thing. But whatever, I'm not God.
I mean, the entire United Kingdom has like 20-some Dukes. So we're going bonkers with the fucking Dukes here.
He's going a little heavy with the Dukes.
Started writing this book, Jimmy, I thought, God had one final book to write. I mean, you're an author, I'm an author. We always think about our last chapter. Yeah. What do I want to write here that really grips the reader, stays with them, leaves.
You make up bullshit. I make up bullshit.
Them with a lasting impact. And God said, I'm going to give them Revelation. And of course, Revelation does tell us all about what's going to happen in the end times. But at the same time, God said, I love my church. I love my bride. I want her to know who I am.
And yes, they are not on poppers. This is 1.5.
So Revelation.
If you thought the first few books were batshit crazy, I am just going to blow you away with this last book. Like, I am taking the crazy gloves off. You're going to be astonished here.
Oh, we're going to smack down.
Devotional into the character of God, as well as telling us what's going to happen in the end times.
Well, and that's what I appreciate about your book, is because, Revelation can scare you to death. And you have all this imagery of violence, judgment, wrath, not just judgment, but the wrath of God. And so when you look at God being loving and merciful, and which you talk about in your book, isn't that a little bit, can people get a little confused when they read Revelation and understanding God is loving and merciful? The rest of the Bible, at the end of it, it just seems like just all heck breaks loose.
Absolutely. And that's one reason why it's so important to look at the whole of Scripture and really the whole of the character of God. If you think about it, at the cross of Jesus, you had the greatest display of wrath that's ever been displayed on Christ. The Bible says he made him who knew no sin sin.
And I went through this with a Christian. There's no way. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like being crucified is fun. All right? That sounds like a terrible weekend. However, I'm not going to also pretend like there's not a lot worse ways that people have suffered. The example, not to be too brutal warning. Like, ISIS crucifies children upside down. I think they've been put out of business, though they always have pop-ups. It's like the Wish versions. And so there's way worse things to happen and to children. So people who definitely have sinned less. And I know there's no way. I know they always make it that, he was a 30-year-old virgin who did nothing. I find that claim continually funny.
Never looked at one woman's ass his entire life and thought, damn, that looks nice. Not even once.
Not even once. Exactly. You can't. It's because it's thought crime, right? You can't even have the thought.
Right, yeah, thought crime. Yeah, thought crime. Yeah, you can't even think about it.
Boy. What's up, Alonzo? And everybody.
Revelation, though, he said, is very scary. Yeah, making money is scary. Selling fear, selling is very scary. Buy my book.
Buy my book. Exactly. The world's coming to an end. Give me money.
Hey, you're not going to need it anyway.
Well,
why do you need money?
Well, I mean, without his final apocalyptic wrath on the planet, at the very same time, he's offering grace. There's scores, millions of people that.
I'm sorry. What? Can we hear that one more time?
Apocalyptic wrath on the planet. At the very same time, he's offering grace.
He is bringing about the apocalypse, but there's so much grace in it.
Well, Amy, I mean, it's like the flood. He had just so much grace that he saved Noah and his family. That humans could continue.
Oh my goodness. And that's always the fucking plug. Is they're like, listen, he may have killed, well, we'll go down. Billions? How about millions? Who knows? In their thing, hundreds of thousands. But James, do you know how many they left alive? I mean, come on. It was like 8 people.
He didn't have to leave any. He could have killed them all, Amy. He didn't have to leave even one. But
he sorted them out and he left some. There you go.
I mean, he thought, like, if he just wipes them all out, then that would be billions of people that wouldn't be born to go to hell. So he wanted lots of people in hell to be able to torture them. So he had to leave a family alive so they could make more damned people.
And listen, is free will really worth it? Come on, you're God. You can wipe that shit out. Because that's the other thing. They're always like, we need free will. And then they're like, well, on Noah, all of those people outside of the boat, even the babies, were going to grow up to be evil. So, evil babies. Which I go back to this pro-family, like, I hate to keep on going political, but it's just, if you are okay with drowning babies for like an ends justify the means, you may not be the good guy. Just putting that out there.
Which is why I've said before, and Christians don't get it when I tell them that, but from a Christian perspective, having a child is probably the most evil, selfish act you could possibly ever do. Because you cannot guarantee that child will believe in Jesus. So all of a sudden, would they be better off not existing or going to hell? Well, obviously not existing. So because you can take that child, you can preach to them from the time, like they did to us, but you can preach to them from a time they're in the toddler in their high chair, and you can start teaching them about God.
Holy shit.
Take them to church. What's up?
I'm sorry, finish your point.
No, you can take them to church 5 times a week. You can preach it to them from the time they're babies, and they still might not believe anyway. They just can't believe it. So it doesn't matter. They still go to hell.
They still burn forever. Oh, that's forever. Nice.
Like, well, I mean,
it's
God
okay.
says to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, God says that because he doesn't care. If there are more people in hell, fine, whatever. That's it. He doesn't mind that.
And so I just have to point this out. As Judith lovingly showed us, so we can call. But as Judith lovingly showed us, $77 a month they were charging for this damn book. $7 a month, which means, if you think about it, you may say a subscription. Not like $7 and you buy the book and you have the book. As in every month that you own the book, you now have to pay $7. As Dave points out, that is more than Netflix. You have to. This book is competing with Netflix, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea.
You can unsubscribe after what they're betting is people will forget to unsubscribe or cancel, and 5 years later they'll be saying, "No, where's the $7 a month I've been paying going for all these years? Oh crap!"
And James, what do you think the average age of their subscribers are? And listen, let me tell you, I am not an ageist. In fact, what I'm trying to be is protective, because
I think
these
probably at least half or more, 60% in the 50+ crowd in the retirees.
And so they're going for basically retiree money. That is fantastic. James, this is the good book. This is where our objective, moral, theistic morality comes from. It all makes sense. What's up, Ramsey? So how soon as he said, "Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God after it has come with power." Let me just tell you that when we're trying to get Jesus to come, I hope it's with power.
Because I mean, that's what Pat used to say is like first century Christians, like they gave up all their property because they really thought this shit was happening in their lifetime. They were just waiting for him to come back imminently.
It's wonderful.
Like they gave up, they lived communally, they gave up their property. They didn't care about like the future and inheritance. That had no concept of them because there's not going to be.
Because they thought it was actually going to go to heaven.
Right. Right. It's all this shit is going to happen. Jesus is coming back, Amy.
Any day now. Any day now. I've been at this bus station how long? Oh, that's okay. Anyway, we're going to get back into it. Jesus will return soon. This is apparently, like I had no idea. James, I mean, we're almost going with HBO here. I mean, come on. This is great.
There's scores, millions of people that come to Christ during the tribulation time, and it's as if the door of the ark is still open, even though God is gathering the storm clouds all around us. So there is that juxtaposition of love and grace and mercy and wrath and all these things coming together.
While he's killing people.
But that's all a part of the grand attributes of who our great God is.
People use this commonly as a kind of an excuse not to believe in God, but they say, how could a loving God sentence anyone to an eternity in hell? In other words, you have this, on one hand, the depiction of God as loving and merciful, which he is, but then there's an eternal consequence that we are going to pay for our decisions here on earth. Why would a loving God send people to hell?
Well, a loving God doesn't want to send people to hell, and that's why he gives people an option.
He doesn't want to, and he doesn't have the power to do otherwise, because he's a... Anyway.
Well, it's like, oh, well, I mean, I would like people not to go, but I already set up the rules that way, so, I mean, if they decide they go, they go. But, I mean, he knew that before he invented the game, before he made the rules up that would do that. And he knew what would happen. He said, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. That's how I want to do it. If it leads to billions of people burning, screw them. Fuck them. I don't care.
And he knew beforehand. That's why he
knew the outcome.
Truly grasp the omnis. Like, this is what was going to happen, and this is what he wanted to happen, right? Because it couldn't be any other way.
Because if he wanted it to be different, he could have made it different. He could have said, I know if I do it this way, that damn Satan, he's going to trick that fucking slut. He's going to trick her, and she's going to trick him, that pussy whipped cuck I've named Adam, and billions of people are going to go to hell. But,
Oh, that story is funny.
I already decided that's how I'm going to do it, so just fuck him. Fuck him. He's not the one burning, is he? It's nothing to him. He doesn't have to burn.
We've apparently had to have like 6,000 years of suffering because they ate an apple. I mean, James, can you think of a worse crime than eating an apple?
God told them not to, sir. God told them not to. They didn't listen to God. Even though they had no concept of right or wrong, because that's what they had to eat the apple to get. They didn't understand the consequences of what they were doing. They were intentionally kept ignorant. But too
Well,
bad.
they
Too bad.
literally,
Too bad.
I can use the word literally. They did not have the concept of the knowledge of good and evil.
Right.
Well, I don't even know why you would name a tree that if you're just going to put it there and not let people eat from it. But okay.
To test them, it had to be there to test them. They had to have the option of doing something wrong.
Isn't it just kind of a dick move though, just to have a tree
Extremely.
of the knowledge of
Just
good
to
and
give
evil,
them a chance,
and
just to give them that rope to hang themselves with.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, it literally would be like going into a daycare center and just handing out matches and cans of gasoline and telling the kids, don't play with this stuff.
Exactly. Or at least putting the gasoline and the match like in a corner and being like, listen, I told them not to play with the gasoline and matches. Now I know that I went over there and I went and played Nintendo and ate Cheetos, but I mean it's kind of their fault.
Them not to. I told them
yeah,
not
I told
to.
them not to. And everyone knows that the moment that a child does something, you instantly punish them for thousands of years and their children and for progeny.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're children and millions of generations later. Yeah, exactly. They'll all be burning.
It's too moral. It just makes too much sense. What's up, Dave? What's up, Let's Fam? Everybody. I know Nintendo and Cheetos actually sounds really good right now.
While smoking meth, just to get that good Christian.
That's what you'd have to smoke to believe. Well, I say that, and it's so crazy that so many people. I truly do. I just have to take
Methodist
it in.
Church. Have you ever been, Amy, to a Methodist church?
I have not. Well, I don't know.
Lots of them in Kentucky, Tennessee, rural parts of Georgia. Lots of Methodist churches.
I have been to a church, and I couldn't tell you what kind of church it was. But I've no
probably not a
church
Methodist church.
I feel like you might like a certain type of church here. We are going to return to Jesus.
Adjacent to the snake churches, like kind of right across the street. One church they smoke meth, the other ones they juggle snakes.
And the other one they try and just sell snake oil.
I'm juggling snakes for Jesus. Say hello to Mr. Rattlesnake. Oops, I got bit. I'm fucked.
I get you. Yes, that's just
there
stupidity.
Goes Paul.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's a passage in the Bible that says that the can be snake handlers and they'll
be pick up snakes and nothing will happen to them.
And I guess this is our. We don't often do PSAs on this channel. PSA. That's fucking stupid. Anyway, James, this is the best book in history. They think this is the arbiter of knowledge. Okay, let's return
opportunity to come to him. In fact, and this is really what's so interesting about Revelation, Jimmy, is that in the time of God's wrath on planet Earth, at that same time, God sends multitudes of preachers. He says 144,000 Jewish Billy Grahams. He sends 2 witnesses who are performing miracles. And then finally, at the end, he sends a gospel, earth-encircling angel that preaches the gospel in chapter 14 to the entire planet.
Yeah, this preacher I used to listen to named, he's like a chiropractor from Florida. I think his name is Scott Johnson. He used to describe it as like 200,000 Jewish male virgins who will go around preaching the gospel. And they're going to be converted to Christianity in the last days. Specifically, Amy, Jewish male virgins.
Oh, 100,000. Like I said, it makes too much sense not to be true.
I think mid in Matthew 24 when he says, and the gospel of the kingdom will be preached to the whole world, and then the end will come. So God basically gives us over and over again, chance after chance after chance. And then in the end, we get to choose or reject him. And so when we end up in a place that's filled with God's wrath, we only have really ourselves to blame. Because
right. They're talking about why God sends people to hell. Because it's not us. I know that they say we send ourselves to hell by not believing from bad evidence.
You only have yourself to blame.
Yes, yeah. They throw us into like a game of, in a sense, something kind of like Saw eventually, because you get tortured forever.
Yeah.
We're open for a very long time.
Yeah, Matthew 25, Jesus said that hell was prepared for the devil and his angels. It was never intended for mankind, of course, and then they rebelled, and that is a great answer.
God said, well, I mean, since I've got it there, I mean, I might as well use it for mankind. I mean, shame to
this is the revelation of
put
God.
it to waste.
Understanding God through the book of Revelation. Well, Jesus, there you have the loving, merciful Savior on one side, but Revelation also shows him as...
And then on the other side, you have a lovely Tabasco sauce. And when you put them together, it actually makes a lovely combination. It's smoky and spicy. And who are we talking about? Also cats.
Everything now has to have a heat component to it. Like you can't find like a new recipe for a drink without tahini in it. It's like everything's got to be spicy now. I don't know. Everything. You can't find a recipe for mashed potatoes without them. Like, oh, and we'll just chop some jalapenos in there. Like, why does everything have to have a heat component?
Are you not a fan of spicy?
I mean, some things, but not like everything.
That's funny because that Rachel is also not a fan of spicy. However, the femboy and myself, the burn. I don't know why. Let me tell you.
Oh, that's right, Ember. Yeah.
The hottest thing I eat, and I stand by this being the hottest thing, even though I see kids eat them and all sorts of shit, is Takis. Takis. I keep on hearing it, though maybe it's in my head.
People say, I don't eat them. But
oh my goodness, Takis are the purple bag. Oh, that purple bag, let me tell you. And the lime is the only thing that keeps you grounded to the floor. Somehow that's what makes it work. Oh, now I want Takis. But it would, my face, like, it would just melt. And so we're not going to do that as much as I am now salivating. But I like wings.
People want to see that.
Sending a shout out.
Where you just eat a bag of Takis on camera.
My goodness. That would be something. And I just tried Hooters wings for the first time this year, and they were good. The difference, ladies and gentlemen, you want to know why Hooters makes money, besides just the big hazangas, is that they bread their chicken wings. And so if you have...
it's all right.
Yeah, and then and I've gotten some people who got lukewarm. They're like, I don't know if I want the... But see, for me, if you're going to take fried chicken and put hot sauce on it... Anyway.
I just like classic wings. I've had Hooters breaded a couple times, and they're all right.
I like classic wings, too. Do you do hot sauce, though? See, with Rachel, I can only go barbecue. I can do garlic parmesan. This is all just making me hungry now. Takis are the devil's food. Yes, they are. Is Jesus the little puppet from Saw 3? That is the vibe I am getting from this.
A warrior king. And so talk about just the balance of that.
Yeah, and the way that Revelation begins is it begins with the vision of Jesus Christ, of the glorified, resurrected, exalted, enthroned Christ. And the picture that John gives us in Revelation chapter 1 is unlike a lot of the pictures we get preached on Sunday mornings. We tend to always go back to the Gospels to get our image of Christ, but there's the image of Christ in Revelation that we need to focus in on too. And that Christ is a Christ that he says he's coming back to bring a sword, first of all, to his own church, to do some open heart surgery on the church.
James, but this guy is being a dick. And yes, they're just reminding us why they don't like the liberal Jesus. They're like, this guy's bringing a sword. Oh boy. This time, it's personal.
agree. But eventually, Jimmy, in chapter 19, Jesus comes back to set the world right. He comes back to do away with evil. And if you think about it, that's something that every person really deep down inside really wants. They want the bad to go away. They want rape to go away, and murder and sex trafficking and killing children and all these bad things. Well, guess what? Jesus is coming back in Revelation 19. He's going to do away with all that.
That's right.
So it really is a glorious return.
He's going to let the crimes continue to happen, the horrible events. He's not going to stop those. But one day, you just wait. Oh, it makes, once again, too much sense.
He rids the earth of evil. He does judgments at that time, and then he begins his great kingdom.
It's really fantastic. And Revelation is an exciting book. The letters to the churches, the 7 letters to the churches, and Jesus talks about many of the things that are happening in the church today. But in Revelation 19, he comes back, and I think it's comforting when you look at it from the perspective of all the injustice in the world, all the sin, look at what Hamas did to the innocent Israelis on October 7th. That's going to be made right when Jesus returns. Is that correct?
That's right. Absolutely right. The Bible says he's going to rule the nations with a rod of iron, and Jesus, who is the Prince of Peace, will finally bring peace to the earth, and he'll reign in Jerusalem. So yeah, he's going to bring retribution to his enemies. He's going to bring reward to those who follow him.
That's right. We've lived, and I say this sometimes, we've lived in this sewer for so long that it's normal to us. But when Jesus returns, we're going to understand what right really is, what righteousness really is, what peace really is. And because some people kind of fall in love with the world, and they they kind of chafe.
Everybody will just be worshiping all day.
You'll never.
They won't have anything to fight about. That's it. There's nothing else to do, nothing else to fight about. You just worship me all day, every day, and then there'll be no disagreement. Peace and true peace and brotherhood. You just thinking all the time, nothing else to do. You can't even think about anything else.
They can't even agree with themselves. The First Baptist Church wants to kill the Second Baptist Church.
Oh, well, we're at the Second Baptist Church. When Jesus comes back, Jesus will tell them idiots at the First Baptist Church that we were right. So there you go. The people at the First Baptist Church will say, those country bumpkins, idiots down at the Second Baptist Church. When Jesus comes back, he'll let them know how right we were.
That's right. We were the right denomination.
When Jesus comes. And so I want to talk about the rapture. In your book, you talk about the rapture. This is something that people are very interested in for the right reasons. Now, after October 7th, when I'm looking at what's happening in the world, I just think Jesus has just got to come just any time. And of course, I never set dates. You never set dates. But there are people that believe that the rapture happens just before the 7-year tribulation period. There are people that believe that he's going to come in the middle of that. And there are others, those are mid-trib people.
I love it when they come in the middle.
And you have the post-trib people that believe that Jesus is going to come at the end of the tribulation. And we get a ton of questions about this. So I want you to explain, if you would, those different positions and the difference they make in what you believe.
Yeah, so the pre-tribulational rapture basically says that we are rescued from the planet before God's initial wrath begins in Revelation chapter 6 with the sealed judgments of being broken. The mid-tribulation, rapture position says that Christ comes back at the very middle of that 7-year tribulation, 3.5 years into it, essentially when the mark of the beast is enacted.
Right.
And then the post-trib people, those are the three main views. Post-trib people believe that Christ will come back right before his second coming. We go up to heaven, we get mounted on horses, we come right back. The two problems that I have with the mid and the post rapture view, Jimmy, is that the post rapture view doesn't account for the fact that if we're all changed at the end of the tribulation, then who are these mortals that go into the millennial kingdom and end up having babies? We know that they will in the
Well, that escalated quickly.
Millennial kingdom there, and so it's sort of a kind of the yo-yo view. It's been called the
mid-trib
view.
Traditional beginnings. But most of them are all the trend is going towards post-trib. Because it just makes it so much easier for them. They don't have to account for really anything. Post-trib is where, like Jehovah's trib, SFT is post-trib. They're all becoming post-trib. Because they can always say, because if you're pre-trib, if the rapture has to happen first, you know that none of this has started, Amy. You can't be in the tribulation because the Christians are still here. So none of it started, but if it's at the end, you can always say, well, you never know. We could be in the tribulation already. It could have just started a year ago or last week. So it just leaves it wide open. They can say whatever. It could be right now, Amy. It could be in the middle of it right now, and you would never know it.
And yes, this entire episode is about getting a horse, I think, right?
Fred Herbert. Aggravated sexual assault.
Yes.
at the midpoint of the tribulation. But when you look at Revelation 6:1 and 2, it says that the Lamb is the one who breaks the seals. So those seal judgments clearly begin at the very beginning of the tribulation. Now, if God
I've seen this Yu-Gi-Oh episode.
pattern of deliverance is still in effect here with delivering Lot before Sodom and Gomorrah, delivering Noah before the flood came, those type
Now we're talking my kind of thing. What are we talking?
of things, then we would expect God to do the same to us. In fact, Scripture tells us in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 10, chapter 5, verse 9,
Burn
Revelation
everyone
3:10,
like a
that we're not
nuclear
destined
bomb?
for God's apocalyptic wrath, but for salvation or for deliverance. So I think that, and that's why it's called the blessed hope. I mean, throughout the whole New Testament, you've got the church eagerly anticipating. They said Maranatha to each other, "Oh Lord, come," so that they would
Please do, Lord.
prepare their hearts for what
that, and
moment. And that's what we call the
you hear that in an average week. Oh Lord, come.
Listen, I feel like he's getting excited. I'm getting excited. Jesus is about to come.
Oh Lord, come.
Ember, that's funny. That's right. The millennial kingdom. Close to, I will say, I will continue to say, it's just nice to know that we have our own Falcon.
So that's one of the reasons why I subscribe to that pre-trib rapture view.
So if a person believed, like if they go to a church and their pastor is teaching them that we're going to go through the tribulation, I mean, that would that not kind of discourage or depress you to think? I mean, that's not an encouraging message. I mean, because Paul said, encourage, comfort one another with these words. That's not comforting, is it?
What's up, Athena? We are kind of a counter apologetics comedy channel, which you would think we'd be watching religious content because we're religious. But I'm going to stick to that Mystery Science Theater 3000 analogy. James, it makes too much sense.
Mystery Science Theater, yeah.
It's Jesus. He's coming. Oh my God, it's Jesus. He shoots, he scores.
No, it's not comforting at all. And when you think about the whole idea of the rapture is to deliver us. Now, some people will say, well, no, we're not meant to have an easy life. We're not meant to not go through problems. And Jesus said in John 16, in this world, you're going to have tribulations or hard times. We believe that. Christians all over the planet.
Oh my goodness. And hard times are happening in the world, James. And so if you think about it, it's basically the end of the world.
They're being persecuted in this very moment.
Have you had hard times,
man's wrath. And what God says is, you're exempt from my wrath. Because all of my wrath against you fell on Jesus at the cross. So there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1 says. So that's, again, another reason why we believe. We're not trying to get out of something, but if God says I'm going to
By the way, we're way past him hawking his book. So do you see how happy? Maintaining of happiness for the world to end. I'm just, Your Honor. And yes, your cat is now in live chat.
You out. We certainly want to be agreeable with that because we don't want to suffer his wrath.
Well, I like what you said. There's a difference between man's wrath and God's wrath. And Jesus said in Luke 21, pray that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things and to stand before the Son of Man. And he was talking about his
one's made up.
So, Revelation, the book of Revelation is full of so many symbols. And that's something.
Are we making fun of Isha, son of Miriam, peace be upon them? Not yet.
That's the Islamic version of Jesus. Sometimes they call him Isa.
Gotcha. Are we making fun of him? I mean, he's dead. We're not making fun of him.
He never even existed.
We're making fun. Well, and Jesus is James is a mythicist. He may be a combination. Well, the point that I would rather make is that we're making fun of the people who still believe it hundreds or thousands of years later, though some of the Mormons and the Scientologists are also silly. I guess we're not really making fun of the guy. We're making the fun of these schmucks. They're telling these. Books. Yeah, these guys are one step away from putting a billboard that says the world will end in insert your year. But they're also hawking a book that is a $7 subscription. Not you buy the book for $7. You pay $7.
Well, you can unsubscribe.
So you can maintain and own the book. You can cancel anytime, James.
Yeah, I mean, hey. You want to forget? Okay. 20 years later, hey, I've been paying $7 a month to these people, but hey,
Like, listen, I to say it twice in a podcast, I am writing a book. To think that I would want a subscription, you sell a book. It's been that way for like a few thousand years. Not to do tradition, but like even in virtual manner on Amazon right now, you buy a book, whether that's a real book, a hard book, or a Kindle. You buy the book. These people are scam artists. Let me just get to the point. But yes, he'll return soon.
even get a
Yeah,
book a month. You
just
don't even
the
do that.
symbolism of the book. I mean, what are
Yeah,
some
I
of
know,
the
you
meanings
don't
of the
even
symbols
get a
of the
new
book of Revelation?
book.
Yeah, for example, you see in Revelation chapter 1 and 2, he talks about the lampstands of the churches. He talked about the stars of the churches. We know those represent the church and the pastor. In chapter 4, we see the 24 elders around the throne. Strong evidence suggests those 24 elders represents the church, the bride of Christ that's in heaven prior to the tribulation period.
Right.
And John, throughout Revelation, describes things. He says, I saw something like the face of a man. It was like a lion. John's doing his best to put in the language. And so there are some things that, conceivably are very vague in Revelation, but he does give us some idea what it's
Bear,
like.
what?
John also has very specific
Is
language.
there a bear? Where? Where's the bear?
Specific
Oh, James, you should come to the clubs that I go to. There's bears everywhere.
names.
Roar.
What's happening in heaven. He tells us about specific time periods, about numbers of people that are in heaven. And so we do get a lot of specificity along with those word pictures. And so we just simply want to say, well, if God is plain enough to put it in plain language, let's go ahead and just believe what he says. And then those other instances where we don't understand exactly what this is going to look like, we just leave it to God to fulfill those prophecies any way he wants to.
Yeah, and of course, John 2,000 years ago was seeing things of today, or of the future. And if someone showed us something 2,000 years now, we would have to do the same thing. Well, it looked like this. Well, I don't know exactly what it was. So 1,000 years, so there's going to be a rapture, and you and I both
explain it to him a little bit better.
And so that's something we both strongly believe. Then there's going to be a 7-year tribulation that the book of Revelation talks about very specifically. And then there's the second coming, when Revelation 19, when we, the bride of Christ, return with Jesus to the Mount of Olives, where he judges the nations that have gathered against Israel there. And this is another interesting thing, Jeff. The Bible says, and this is such an absurd thing to be written 2,500, 2,800 years ago, but the Bible says that the very final scene of this age is the whole world coming against Israel.
The whole podcast.
And before October 7th, I think a lot of people would have kind of scoffed at that, but not today. When you see literally the whole world.
It is. It's amazing to think about this little piece of land that's the size of New Jersey, essentially New Hampshire, is that the whole world's focused in on this, the center of the world is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And so
pretty silly, huh?
There you go. The second thing we've agreed on. Oh my goodness. We're forming a pattern. You just need to shut up after this and we're going to be good. But yes, it is silly that religion is driving a war. However, there's other reasons for wars. Wars will continue because humans, unfortunately, go to human.
Why Israel? Why not the continent of Africa? That's bigger than America and Canada and South America.
You think there's no war in any other continent, any other country?
Yeah, they just don't care about those conflicts or wars. If 1 million people get slaughtered in Uganda, you think they care? You think that?
Wait a second.
Concern.
Also, he does know where Israel, that's not even that far from, the fucking, what is it called? The crest of Africa.
The Horn?
Yeah, basically the top of Africa that eventually lines up with Egypt. There's no war anywhere. Anyway, their borders can't be open, but there's.
Come on. Why is it just this little strip of land? It just has to mean that all these prophecies concerning Israel, everything from her being regathered to the land, everything from her temple being rebuilt to her Messiah coming back, all these things are going to happen because the Bible is not a book of coincidences. It's a book of prophecies. And so we're living, I believe, Jimmy, in that prophetic time.
Spicy. I can't help myself, James.
It's a book that uses very vague and flowery languages. Yeah.
So to be honest, I do not feel good about your personality. I feel like you have evil intentions towards a good man like Isa, peace be upon. Okay, yeah. And just an advice because you look like. Just an advice because you look like do not know. Isa, peace be upon him, indeed will come back. You guys think that he'll come back too? And he is a good-hearted man. At the same time, he is protected by a power that none of us understand. But like, why? I love you, Bathina. I know that you think that I have evil intentions. I really wish that, yes, we are. James and I are clowns. Admittedly clowns. Like, not the metaphorical sense, the literal sense. We hope that over the course of some of our podcasts, we make you chuckle, giggle, or even smile. But if that's not the case, because we are doing some hard blasphemy, I'm not going to like say that we're not, but it's because that we think that they are dead. I know that you think that he is still alive in some form and apparently coming back. I thought that's where they separated from Christianity. They thought that, well, I guess it's just the crucifixion. That's the only thing that separates you guys.
I don't know. They do
'Cause
believe he's
Islam-
coming back. They believe he was born the virgin.
I guess
they're
so.
down with all that. They don't think he was God. They think he was just a
virgin?
great prophet. He
Can
was
I
just a
tell you what
great
the
prophet.
virgin thing sounds like? It sounds like North Korea. Anytime I hear that, I'm like, you guys, yeah, he hit, 18 holes in one. I don't know.
He doesn't
I'm
poop.
sending
He
love,
doesn't fart.
Athena. We are not
18 holes
trying
in one, and then
to.
he retired.
Because that's what it all is. They all do miracles, but miracles just seem to be rare events.
He did all these great
And-
things, and then he retired. He went back to heaven. He's not going to do it anymore. They can write stories
He
and
won't be
books
a bad
about
boy.
it, but yeah.
But yes, apparently Jesus is going to return. We're still waiting.
Right now. And so that's why we need to look up and pay attention and to read the world through discerning eyes as we find it in Scripture.
There has never been a time like this, in the history of the world, and it was prophesied. Now, the Antichrist, so what is the role of the Antichrist in Revelation? Because we've talked a little bit about the Antichrist. What does Revelation say about him?
Essentially, the Antichrist is going to be, he's a real man, I believe. He's an actual human. He's going to be someone that Satan is actually going to indwell, to energize,
I always
believe,
love
to possess. There's only two people in the
It's
Bible
always going to be like a dude or a woman, whoever they dislike.
that are portrayed as being possessed by Satan. One of them, Judas Iscariot,
Right.
and the other is Antichrist. But Satan has long
Bashar
wanted to
al-Assad in
rule.
Syria.
He owns the keys to the
Vladimir
world, but he's never
Putin.
been worshipped as the God
King
of this world.
Charles.
He's going to get that wish granted
Donald
during
Trump,
the tribulation
Barack
period.
Obama,
Antichrist,
George W. Bush, Bill
which
Clinton.
he is worshipped. He's going
Ronald,
to
oh,
suffer
he's
a fate.
dead. No, not Reagan. Jimmy Carter. He's almost
Everybody.
He proclaimed as God Almighty. He's going to invade the Jewish temple, proclaim himself to.
And yes,
Emmanuel
sending
Macron
love.
from France. He's Satan incarnate.
Connecting both just hubs. That's Right to Freak at youtube.com, or I can't even do it. youtube.com/Amy Newman is sending love to the live chat, but also twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. Apparently there's another Amy Newman. But are they skeptical? I don't know. I guess I'd have to meet them. They may be, and so I'm not going to just
Probably not.
criticize them. Hey, who knows? But I can't help it, and we'll keep on playing it. I can't help it. We actually love people who disagree with us, Bathina. Be careful. You really do not understand the power of the Almighty God. You really do not. Well, I will agree with you because they are apparently omnipotent, omnipresent. They have all knowledge. They are able to be everywhere and outside of time. Well, but they just can't seem to, show up here. We don't mean to. We make silly of it because as we say here, you laugh or cry. And some of these arguments, well, not yours. I mean these that we're watching here. This gentleman who is very happy for the world to end. Can I ask you? You don't have to, but I'm interested, Bathina. Do you think the world is going to end? And is that a good thing?
Be God there. I believe that the Islamic forces will have been wiped out in the Ezekiel 38 war. So Christianity essentially was taken out with the rapture. Islam's taken out with Ezekiel 38. Now wants to take out Judaism. Why? Because there'll be no.
Oh, see, look, he just took pot shots at Islam. So there we go. Are we on the same team yet?
Other rivals for gods to be worshipped. And so Satan is going to use Antichrist to let the world worship him.
Everyone's the
And part of the way he's going to do that is
Antichrist.
through his miracles, the false prophet in Revelation 13, and also through this whole thing called the mark of the beast. And so this is Satan getting what he finally wants, but it's going to be a very short-lived kingdom. As even early on in the tribulation, heaven is talking about the kingdom of our Lord and his Christ is on its way.
Right.
And so Satan's reign is going to be very short-lived.
That was so interesting what you just said. You said the rapture takes out Christianity. The Gog-Magog war takes out Islam.
Of course he does.
And then you have Judaism left.
He just takes them all out and then incorporates, I guess, the Jews or something like that. Amazing. Also, set in love, rejoice.
Interesting statement. I've never heard anybody make that statement like that before.
No.
Regarding the Gog and Magog war, do you believe it happens
Neither do
sometime
I.
around the rapture, before the rapture, after the rapture?
There are about 8 different views about when it happens. My particular view is that it happens
And he's making it up as he goes along, so why not?
somewhere in that parenthesis where between the rapture and the peace treaty and right after the peace treaty that Antichrist signs with Israel, because it does say that Israel's living in the latter days at peace in the land. They're living securely.
Right.
That seems to coincide with that peace treaty. So sometime right around that little time frame, I believe, is when that war will break out. And of course, God says in Ezekiel 38, he's going to wipe out every bit of the Islamic military forces in the world.
The
That to me
Great
would
War.
open up the door for Israel just to take over the Temple Mount, raise the Mosque of Omar, Dome of the Rock, and just rebuild their temple in a very short time.
Well, now that's a very important statement, because the Jews, people talk about where the temple is going to be rebuilt.
Oh, hold on. I'll go back. The Jews, but hold on, because I'm interested. She's saying, or no one knows when the Great War will start, but as our leaders say, we are ready. And Christians will be ready to join our forces when Al-Dajjal gather his army. I'm going to be geeky for a second.
That's the
Bafina.
Islamic version of the Antichrist, the Dajjal.
The Dajjal, really? Al-Dajjal. It sounds kind of sexy. I'm sorry. He's winning me over already.
He's like a hipper, sexier, cooler Antichrist. He drinks
Exactly.
Arab coffee and yeah.
James, do you know where a lot of our coffee comes from? I mean, the best coffee.
Says Arabic.
But to be geeky for a second, there's a word called backwards compatibility, and I just love that the Mormons and the Muslims are very accepting. I mean, in theology, maybe in the real world, we're all having all these wars and stuff. But generally, the Muslims are like, okay, we're going to accept the Christians and the Jews. Those are the two people that we're going to accept. Just like the Mormons, they view themselves as Christians. They're going to join you. The Christians are going to join you. But the Christians, they're not happy with DLCs. I shouldn't keep on making geeky jokes. They're not
No
happy
expansion packs.
with religions trying to make expansion packs. Yes. Oh my goodness.
But now that's a very important statement, because the Jews, people talk about where the temple is going to be rebuilt. And my statement is, it doesn't matter what Gentiles think. The only thing that matters is what the Jews think, because they're going to be the ones that rebuild it. And they believe that the Dome of the
No,
Rock
they're
is
not.
on the location
Oh,
of the
yes.
original
No, they're
temple.
not.
That's exactly right.
They would
Right-
never
right-
rebuild it in a million
Right-
years.
where Solomon's temple was built, where the second temple was built, Herod's temple. They believe that piece of real estate. And it's very interesting. Satan is very territorial. We know that in Scripture. We know that from Book of Daniel. And real estate is
very territorial.
There's no more important
Is he a
building,
real
if you will,
estate
of the world,
agent?
of real estate than the Temple Mount, specifically where the temple's being built. And so Satan's going to hold on to that as long as he can. But God's going to break through the. I think Temple Institute's going to have a huge.
James, do you know the difference between a liar and a bullshit artist? A liar has to remember the house of cards that they have built. A bullshit artist is just making it up as they go along.
Yep.
role in that as well, and be able to get that temple built, sacrifices reinstituted again during the tribulation period.
So the temple does not have to be rebuilt before the rapture. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. No.
Just
That is
before
correct,
the
Your
midpoint
Honor.
of the tribulation.
Yeah, because it says that at the midpoint is when the Antichrist will break the covenant with the Jewish people and invade the temple. So obviously the temple has to be built sometime in that first 3.5 year period, presumably right after the peace treaty is signed. And
He breaks
When's
the
that?
covenant. He strolls in up to the temple and says, "All right, I'm God. Worship me now." I mean,
Listen, bitches, I actually have powers and can interact in the physical world. So at least I'm a little bit more powerful than, I don't know, God?
So there could be ongoing construction in that 3.5-year period, but certainly enough of an infrastructure to be laid where they could start sacrificing again and worshiping again according to the Old Testament.
Well,
Ooh, he is the most evil man, and yes, he will seduce you easily. Oh, I like it.
I was gonna say that's
If
not that
you
hard.
were not-
Amy.
Okay, that's true. But still, we're not powered with the knowledge of Almighty God.
She still can't get that image of that tall black man with that steak in the skillet. That is
Oh
still
my God.
burned in her mind.
That's what's his name? Oh my goodness.
Rebel Nazarene here.
Because yeah,
Still
I'm
cooking
always
that steak
I'm always
to this
shady.
day in that skillet.
Just that GIF on full rotate. But it's okay. Listen, I will say, if I see a tall, dark, handsome man cooking me a steak, I feel like I shouldn't complain. Anyway.
said several things that are so important related to that. And one of the things you said is the Gog and Magog war, let's just say, assuming it's sometime around the rapture, around the peace treaty with Israel, it takes out Islamic jihad. It takes out the radical Islamic element. And so Israel could, tear down the Dome of the Rock and build whatever they want to build. Of course, they also have the two witnesses there to protect them, because they're going to be untouchable there. So the tribulation, there's the abomination of desolation in the middle there.
It's true, Amber. If we have Yahweh greater, if I am beating Yahweh and James is beating Satan, do you know who beats both of us? It's Gizmo.
And we were in the Temple Institute last December, Jeff, and I know you've been there. They have everything ready. They're ready to go.
Brents are ready. Everything's ready.
Well, and when we walked in the door, we went on the tour there, and they said, these are not replicas. These are kosher. And these are the actual garments the priest will wear.
These are not, this is not the toys. These are actual priestly garments. They're not replicas of toys.
You should taste the garments to see if it has any yeast in it. It'll rise.
Can't you imagine, Amy, like a rabbi going to the Temple Mount and slitting the throat of a goat, just like in the Old Testament?
And Bathino, we're not Christians. We try. I'm sorry if I didn't say that. We are atheists. We are non-believers. We are as heathen can be. As in, we do not believe gods exist. We do not believe prophets exist. And it's not like we're not saying your prophet doesn't exist. We're like going full sail. Like the Christian prophets don't exist. The Jewish prophets don't. Yes. Like, and the pagans, if pagans have prophets, though the pagans tend to be nice here, but if they have prophets just don't exist. I want to get a bumper sticker or a shirt. But
Creflo Dollar makes profits, not prophets.
Yeah, well that's another bumper sticker I would also like to make, is that prophets make profits. But we hope that we're open with it. We are just trying to critique the Christians. This part of this is called the opposition viewpoint. And we love having you on here. We hope you could keep on coming on here, even if you disagree with us.
In the rebuilt temple, these are the actual musical instruments. These are the actual sacrificial, pans and everything. And the other thing that was kind of interesting, Jeff, is when we left the final room that we went in, they had a replica of the Ark of the Covenant, and they said, "This is a replica."
Oh my goodness!
They're going to be redoing those uniforms, those cute uniforms from the Old Testament.
I actually know the Ark of the Covenant is true because I've seen it in a movie. So
it's on like that top shelf in that government warehouse, probably next to the flying saucers.
Probably.
The Ark. We know where the Ark is, and when the time comes, we'll go get it.
You do?
So, a lot of people ask about the Ark. According to the Temple Institute, they know where it is, and they're going to get it when the time comes. So it's all ready, and they also have the red heifers over there right now, hopefully to get one of those that's kosher. So at the end of the
red heifers, I've seen a few of them in my day.
And talks about that. Your book talks about that. So is this a literal 1,000-year period of time?
I believe it is. I mean, people will read Revelation and try to see
it is. It's very literal.
Thing is symbolic or allegory, but if God says something one time, we should listen to him. But if he says it 6 times in a row in 7 verses, which he does in Revelation chapter 20, he says 1,000 years.
I wanted to kind of bring this up. So if God says that, we're going to harden a Pharaoh's heart 5 times and not let the Jews go. I guess you better listen, right?
Amy,
that's all I can think
didn't
about.
harden his heart. Amy hardened something else.
That's right. And I could try to do it 5 times, but you have to be a hell of a man.
He might be
or a
worn out
lady.
after that. After 3 times, he might be spent.
Different times. That ought to be a huge flashing neon sign that God means exactly what he says. And in the Old Testament, we knew there was going to be a kingdom, but we didn't know the length of it. But in Revelation 20, verses 1 through 7, we know that it's going to be 1,000 years.
8 inches always.
Much of the church is amillennial, and probably the majority, and they do not believe that
8
prophecy.
inches, Newman.
And so even though it says 6 times 1,000 years,
We can work with that.
You and I believe in a literal
It's not
interpretation of
15
Scripture. Right?
feet.
If you think about it, even as people
Hovind.
are amillennial about the eschatology in the end times, you look at the first coming of Christ, they believe specifically and literally all of those prophecies about his first coming. So it doesn't make sense that God would then change his modus operandi and say, well, no, everything in the future is going to be symbolic. Everything in the past was literal. Why wouldn't the future also be literal as well? So we just want to keep God's word consistent and just let the plain sense of Scripture speak. And if you do that, you're going to come to a literal conclusion.
That's right. When you look at what-
and if you read it, you're going to think, wow, I'm pretty sure this was made by a bunch of Bronze Age goat herders. Now listen, a lot of them were smart people. We're not trying to insult them, and I am not trying to, say that goats aren't great. But there's actually a lot of rules for goats in here, more than you would expect. And so it just makes you think, is this book going to last the test of time if it's from God?
I mean, just imagine how much it talks about goats versus like dinosaurs that they say
were
were
not owning slaves. But yes,
were around at the
dinosaurs,
time.
genetics.
Well, because they'll say, oh, dinosaurs are in the Bible, but yet we get paragraph after paragraph after paragraph about goats. And when you want to hear about the dinosaurs, well, we go to this one little thing here, and that sort of sounds like a dinosaur. And maybe if you hold the Bible upside down and you close one eye, it maybe looks like a dinosaur. The
That's
biggest,
right.
most cool, badass animals around, and they just didn't feel like writing about them. Well, I mean, who cares? Who cares about the dinosaurs? Let's talk about goats.
happening in the world right now. This was literally prophesied that Israel would come back, that they would get Jerusalem back, that that they would be hated by the world, anti-Semitism would rise in the last days. So explain general revelation,
has
special
never
revelation, and
happened
progressive
before.
revelation.
Yeah, so general revelation is something that everybody gets. Every human being on the planet gets it. We see that in Romans chapter 7, Psalm chapter 19. It says that the heavens declare the handiwork of God, that we understand certain basic things about the Creator from what He has made. We understand He's divine, He's sovereign, He's created.
Sexy.
Kind of a diva.
He's someone who's bigger than us, and He exists. And then Romans.
He saved the best for last, didn't he? Come on. Come on.
A little bit of a prima donna sometimes, you know. He's a little much for some people.
But did you catch that? The last one was exists.
Yeah.
They just got to really
Actually,
sell that. Keep on putting that in there.
2 verses 14 and following says that there's an inner sense of conscience within us, an inner sense of morality. So that's general revelation. Everybody gets that. But then
That's
special
called not
revelation
being a
is
dick.
God writing His word for us.
That's from
It's God doing
evolution.
acts throughout biblical history, and of course, really the capstone of that revelation is the person of Jesus Christ, whom
It's
the Bible
not a
says
bad
is exact.
thing. When you say evolution, when I say biology, it's not a bad thing. They always go to the worst possible thing. They go to survival of the fittest. When it's like, no, we get dopamine when we pet a cat's head. Is it that, altruism is well known. Why we want to be nice to others. It feels good to do good. And then, yes, there is psychopaths out there. There are people that don't get, that sort of thing. And we have the legal system to,
They end up spending a lot of time
fill in
prison
for that. Yes. I don't know
Well,
what to say.
That's true, Ember. Glory. The God of the Bible is the only one I know of who derived glory from defeating enemies that are infinitely weaker. It's like people who have no chance of winning. He will easily destroy them, and he does. And he acts like that's a badge of honor. Like I kicked their ass. I destroyed those people. Look what I did. It's like, but yeah, you're omnipotent. Of course you did. Of course you did. Why would you not destroy all your enemies? It's no effort. That's the thing. People take pride in their accomplishments and the things they do because the result is not guaranteed. Because there's risk and because things take work, effort. Not with God. There's no effort involved. Everything he wants, he gets all the time. There's no risk, no effort required. He just has the power to do it all. Why would that be glorious? Okay, all right. Yeah, you're omnipotent. You have all these amazing powers. Great. Good for you. Yeah, I guess you can create life. You can torture that life if that's what you choose to do, if you want to be a dick about it. But yeah. That's like people ask, like, "Whoa, what if you're wrong and you die and you end up in hell? What do you say then?" Well, at that point, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? Hey, I was wrong. It sucks, but kissing a god's ass to avoid that, who is the real monster, the real dick, the real asshole, who would even set something like that up? You know, as the great Ard Roth has pointed out, any being who would demand to be worshipped is unworthy of it. And that applies wholeheartedly to the Abrahamic God. Demands to be worshipped, threatens people if they don't worship him, which is why it's not free will. None of it's free will. If there's free will, does not involve threats or coercion or penalties for not choosing to do something. That's not really free will. It's like a guy pulling out a knife or a gun and making you give over your money. That's not an act of free will. You didn't do that of your own free will. You could have said no, but the fact that there is a threat implied with that means it's not free will. It becomes a robbery. Which, yeah. Anyhow, looks like we're about 3/4 of the way through the video. This was a little on the longer side, but there is a lot to break down and point out. And yeah. I don't think anyone's going to say hierarchies don't exist. Yeah. Even in nature.
I like building hierarchies. This is the third time in my book, ARC, the Agency of Reconnaissance and Knowledge, because of
where I was saying, like, if you're God, if you're omnipotent, there's no struggle, there's no accomplishment, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with no effort, no risk of failure. Why would anyone look up to that? That's like that's like a billionaire going out and buying something and saying, "Look how badass I am because I could buy it." Oh, okay, yeah, you have lots of money, you can buy whatever you want. We get it. It's not even that sense, because at least they had to do something to get the money. I don't know.
I also have to sponsor this podcast by cats, dogs, whatever you got, hamsters. But we, like James said, we are coming into snakes. Unless they apparently are going to talk you into eating apples. Though that guy seemed to be the only guy who told the truth, but whatever. So we, like James said, we are 3/4 of the way through. We possibly may have an open mic, but I think I am going to hand the reins over to James at that time because I need to go to bed. Exactly. We'll see if anyone comes on, but let's get to it. Jesus, will return soon. It's like Return of the Jedi, apparently.
Representation of God. If you want to know exactly who God is, look at Jesus Christ. Progressive revelation is the idea from Genesis to Revelation. God could never have given us all the truth about him in one revelation. It would have overwhelmed us. So he kind of progressively gave it over time through 40 different authors and over 1,500 years, 3 different languages, 3 continents. And it's kind of, I always say, Jimmy, it's kind of like, you're in a dark room and someone just gradually dims up the lights, so that your eyes adjust to it. Well, now we have the completed revelation of God through Christ, through the Bible. All the lights are on. And that's why Romans 1 says, therefore, there is no excuse.
That's
because
66 books.
available. And God does expect people to respond to general revelation so that he can then give them that special revelation about Christ and, of course, salvation.
Yeah, and Romans 1 says no one has an excuse because even creation itself,
the
general revelation of who God is.
No one has
so let's talk about the Antichrist system. The mark of the beast. Everybody wants to know what the mark of the beast is. And of course, your book talks about it and Revelation talks about it. What do you...
Of course, the mark of the beast is youtube.com/MarkReedAtheism. Please continue to go there. I'm pretty sure that's the mark of the beast, right? Yes, yeah.
I believe it is.
Subscribing to his channel is the mark of the beast. It will probably send you to hell.
I'm pretty sure.
On a personal, or like a tattoo, we would say today. Sometimes, like a Roman soldier would do the insignia of his commanding officer, or even his name tattooed on his arm as a way to pay homage to him. I'm pause on this to basically say this is what the mark's going to be. It's going to be something that's going to be on you. Now, he also, Jimmy, does this. He uses a Greek preposition there. Indicates that the mark is going to be on top of the skin, not underneath the skin. Some people say, well, maybe it's going to be these RFID chips or some sort of tracking device or whatever. But the insignia itself is going to be a visible marking. It's going to be on the right hand or on the forehead. I think the reason for that visibility is that Satan,
maybe
it's going to be on the forehead. Okay, so Elon Musk making the brain link, that is the mark of the beast. I mean, unless someone's going to get a tattoo on their head, does it have to be like a pentagram right there?
A tattoo of a scrotum on your forehead, Amy.
I also like how it can't be like anything satanic like here or anywhere here. It's got to be right here. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen.
Who's worshiping him?
That's right.
It is. I mean, it's a mark. It's like the Star of David during World War II. It marked you as a Jew. Well, he's going to mark and put his seal on people. So I think it's going to be on the skin, some sort of tattoo-like device, some sort of. It could be some sort of device that is able to be read by a scanner. But here's the idea. The idea is that mark enables you to participate in the digital economy that is essentially being set up right now in the world. And so everybody has to opt into it in order to participate. And so you can't have a job, you can't get paid.
Elon Musk wrote a tattoo to your forehead
out that mark. And so that's the economic aspect of the mark. And the other aspect is that it officially declares you
this device sounds scary. I feel like if this device got into everyone's hands, it would be the end of civilization. Is the house falling? Do you see the roof? Is your roof falling, James? Yes.
I haven't noticed any collapse yet.
Huh.
Down here in South Florida.
So here's this man back from the dead, accompanied by signs and miracles. He's overcome all the great world religions and armies, and so he is essentially God to the world. And the Bible says in 2 Thess 2 that God will send a deluding influence upon the world, and they'll believe it. They're going to accept Antichrist as this God. And just one final thing on that, Jimmy, is
that's God making them believe something that they otherwise would not believe for free will. For free will, Amy. God is going to force them to believe something they otherwise would not believe because God values free will.
That's right.
So you
just like he did with those babies, they drowned.
God will make you believe it, therefore, so he can punish you for believing it. Make sense?
See, now I get it.
I think it is where it says that every person who takes that mark will seal their eternal destiny. In other words, no person will take the mark, suddenly regret it, repent of their sins, and become a believer. No, they've already decided they're going to follow him. So they dive in.
Once you take that mark, baby, you are in. It is Antichrist all the way.
You can't unsubscribe. Right. You can't. Yeah. You're
that $7 is locked in.
Headfirst to the mark of the beast. And by the same token, Revelation chapter 20, verse 4 tells us that no believer in the tribulation will take that mark.
That's right.
And so
actually, can I ask if the mark is free, does that mean that the mark is a better deal than this guy's book? Can we all kind of agree with that?
Yeah, but you'll go to hell.
Yes. but I'll get a better deal. So it's like,
Hell would be a place where with only other women, with only women. There's no guys. That's hell.
Their testimony and the blood of the Lamb will overcome Satan and Antichrist. But the rest of humanity, those who dwell on the earth, Revelation says, will take the mark. They will end up, it says, in the lake of fire eventually.
You know, some people may think that it's really hard right now living for Jesus.
I'm sorry. Annie said they'll end up in the lake of fire. Anyway.
With all the persecution and with all the woke stuff and things like that, in the tribulation, they get their heads cut off.
Yeah.
You know, Revelation 3 says they were beheaded because they wouldn't take the mark, they wouldn't worship the beast, they wouldn't renounce Christ. And so those people are dedicated believers in the tribulation. And it comes down to, am I going to sell my soul and burn in hell for eternity or get my head cut off? That's a big deal.
Yes. And here's an interesting perspective on that. These believers come to Christ, most of them, I believe, at the very beginning of the tribulation period. I mean, Revelation chapter 6, you've already got martyrs.
Yeah.
And think of it this way. In our day and time, especially in America,
Barack Obama is going to set guillotines everywhere and demand that you take his mark or he'll cut you off.
But if I do this, this is going to come my way. Those tribulation saints, these guys are baby believers.
Right.
All they've done is trust in Christ, and yet they have the stamina, the strength, the perseverance to stand up all the way to death, to having their heads be chopped off, to stand against Antichrist. These are strong believers.
People, like, they are such crybabies for calling woke and blah, 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 blah. All they want to do is be persecuted. Life is so hard for them.
And I think part of it, Jimmy, is the fact that they counted the cost. They understand what it's going to take. We need more of that type of resolve.
We're supposed to be Christian.
So, I love your book, God's Grand Finale.
I love your book. I really need more books that tell me the world is on fire and about to end.
How many times has he shown that book? Like, this is like we need a counter, like book hucks. Like, how many times he's tried to sell that book?
But it's not even a book; it's a subscription service.
He must have
a deal.
He must have like a kickback deal where every book that sells that, like, from their website, they get a certain amount back from some
Jesus.
type of financial arrangement there.
I assume.
And again, what I love about this book is this will help you to understand God, not just the book of Revelation, because the Revelation is about God. But what do you want to say about your book here? Anything else that you want to promote or anything?
I would just say this, is that in the times in which we're living right now, for every
final
single
sales pitch, give it your all. Give it your all. This is it. This is for the money.
No, you're not. Better than you've ever known
No,
and to cling to him.
You're
and
God. God, can you come out? God, you said it was Marlboro, right? You smoke Marlboro longs? Father, holy Father.
Actually.
Yeah, probably Marlboro. That's the classic. Oh my goodness, I've worked so long behind a counter that it really is like a bar behind there. That is the craziest thing. Because there's so many types of cigarettes.
That's true.
If there's anything to say about what Christians have done when they are faced with martyrdom or denying their faith, the vast majority lives to pray another day. Just saying.
Once you got their heads cut off, we'll sanctify them. What's the right word for it?
Well, like we were saying earlier, it is a heads I win, tails you lose. When they are being prosecuted in the early days, they said, well, that is evidence of the end times. And now that they have essentially been a big portion of the planet, they're like, well, that is evidence of, end times, the Christian end times, apparently. I wonder if there's a different type of end times, like if the Muslim end times, it has I don't know, has winged, unicorns.
We'll canonize them as saints, the ones who choose death.
But it is just silly how much
that
they
would be a
want
thing
in the world.
That was actually a thing in the early church. There were these various persecutions. Lots of Christians ended up selling out their faith, and once the persecution died down, they'd go back to the church, and there was a conflict. Like, we let these people back in the church? What do we do with these people who sold out their faith? They made sacrifices to the Roman gods, or they renounced their faith, and now what do we do? And it was handled differently in different churches. Some churches let them back in, some churches didn't.
Yeah, in essence, they had to deal with a what was it? I'm trying to remember, Constantine, or I'm trying to remember, for Jesus will return soon.
Yeah.
And I had my point, but then I wanted to let you
constantine.
finish your point, and then I forgot it. So I'm sorry.
You forget, it happens.
But let's finish the 15 seconds. It is just, really is, when there's 4 of them, they're going to say, well, this is evidence of end times. But, bad shit goes on all the frigging time. And so we're actually living in, objectively, some of the best times. There's lots of terrible things going on. But I would not want to go back, though. I guess ask me that later, in like a year or 2 after an election. Oh, I want to say something about that about before open mic. Maybe it'll be spicy and someone will come on.
In which you're living.
But,
and this book, God's Grand Finale, endeavors to do both those things for you.
You get it at Amazon.com?
Absolutely.
And Jeff, what is your website where people can find out more about your ministry?
Yeah, just go to jeffkinley.com.
Nice Christian site,
Jeff, thank you so much
Amazon.com.
for being with us today, and I do want to encourage people.
all right, we let him chill. I just wanted to get to the end of the video. But with that, Jesus will return soon. I really just dislike how much the notion of death, like a celebration of death, it is where we get all of these suicide bombings. It is where we get all of these people who, they're used to bomb abortion clinics, which is the point I'll lead in. I want to say something before I go off for the night, and we will also get the open mic stream. And I want your opinion, James. Because politics is a wavy thing. And maybe that'll draw people in and they'll be on for hours, even though I still gotta go. But I gotta get it off my chest. So we'll send the StreamYard into the link. We'll send the StreamYard link into the chatosphere. So if you would like to join the open mic, now would be the time. But I'll tell you what gives me hope. Because it's been a while since we've been on. Elections have happened. And I was very scared that because of, I have to bring up the agenda, the LGBTQ agenda, I thought they were going to scare the crap out of, I guess, women and mainstream America. They were going to sell them this thing that we, in essence, were the enemy. And so I learned that only works as a wedge issue in really internet chat rooms. I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Because what I saw in the election was that women know. They know what rights were taken away from them and who the enemy was, and that tends to be the religious. And so, yeah, I just am trying to hope that that is a reflection in the 2024 election. Because I don't care who you vote for. I just think that this orange pumpkin is scum of the earth. And so I hope that he does not get elected. And there's my political spiciness for the night. I can't help myself.
Well, so take that particular election, the one in Ohio. So say you've got 90% of Democrats that are going to vote, we're going to vote for that amendment, and maybe only say 30% of Republicans, your business-minded Republicans, who don't really care about the morale. They care about money. That's really all they care about. And from their perspective, fewer people, that's fewer mouths to feed, fewer people on Social Security. It's a bit for them. Behind the
Well, James, you are roboting a little bit. Oh, it's still robotic. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I swear that you can't piss off 50% of the population. And listen, I'm not even going pro or against abortion because I don't use the other whatever terms. I'm just saying what the results were because I was surprised. Because
I would be,
but I shouldn't have been. What's that?
No, it'll if they were all, it will only be illegal in deep red states, very red.
And can I tell you,
even borderline? If it's
it
even
won in
borderline,
deep red states.
Those 30% of Republicans that don't care about it, who would go over, that'll be enough to tank it.
But I would also think it's funny if it ends up happening in 50 states, it gets passed, and then at that point,
that would be democracy. What can you do?
Well, all I can say is I
don't think it'll be 50
forward.
states, but it'll probably into the 30s, 40 states. But we'll see.
I always, and I'm always wary of. I know the states' rights are. Though I'm for states' rights,
just not on the issues you think should not be states' rights. That's just
there are. No, that's okay, because you can say it as a mild
and the other
jab.
side thinks, well,
you know what I think? I agree with that
right.
because there are some things, but politics is all opinion. I will I'll keep on standing by that. Is this? Oh, it's not. All right. I have 15 minutes, and I'm probably, in fact, if the conversation gets good and going, I'll hand it over to you anyway, James. But we're going into.
I can go till maybe 10. We'll see.
That's now when I normally go to bed, which is fascinating. I am, however, wanting to do more late night. I'm gonna figure out. I think I'm gonna figure out a time slot where I'm gonna sleep when I first come home, and then we can do a late night. Anyway, that's just a daydreaming. We are going into the Skeptic and Ranting. Jesus will return soon. Open mic. What's up, Doc? How are you doing? And what are your thoughts about the topic or anything?
That's the real Nakasushi. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I came in thinking the conversation would be about what you were saying, Amy, about women's reaction to not being able to have their free rights as human beings in this country to make their own medical decisions. And I was going to come in and say, because I was just in a very heated conversation over on Stephanie's channel, and I might have left saying "fuck you" to everybody, but I'm rage. But so I just really quick on that topic, I just wanted to say that's
That
my
doesn't sound
one
like
hope.
knock, does it?
Yeah. That's my one hope for Joe Biden actually winning, because the whole conversation over there, and man, I got gang banged in that one, was how I didn't think Joe Biden could win. But your point on how women are reacting to the draconian abortion laws is my like one hope for Biden. So I wanted to make
That is, I agree, because I was getting worried because I think that we've had relatively, I don't know, I hate to say like a normalcy, but like, and it drives me nuts that like they've been using certain wedge issues that, in my opinion, are just all made up to like drive people in these battleground states. And yet, yes, that is my one hope now, is that they've been trying to be like, oh, women, it's all about the transgenders, and now they're like, yeah, you can't lie to us, you took away like our fundamental, like you said, like a fundamental right here. And so they are gonna, I'm hoping, vote out in droves. They're not because they want Joe Biden, but just because they're just going to go down ticket and they're going to go fuck you to the other party.
Yeah, that's my one hope. Now, as for Jesus returning soon, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's probably not happening.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for
more
me-
likely that I would like believe in Jesus than Jesus like returning.
Well,
boy.
the Thomas Jefferson version that has Jesus's the moral teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, I understand that because he cut away every miracle. I'm just against miracles and prophets, and
But
but
you're
I
still a theist,
understand.
knock. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to check out your channel much over the past few weeks. But are you still a theist?
Um, I think I call it natural theism. I don't know if that's actually a term. So I believe that there's a lot about the universe I don't know. Um, I don't believe in like any human standards of God, right? Like, so I think a lot of people would still consider me an atheist. Philosophically, I think I'm more probably along the lines of, I don't even know what I would be, honestly. I'm still a naturalist, right? So like I want to contort everything, even like the psychotic break that I had, because I honestly think like my stream about like this episode that I had on my couch, it really happened to me, right? I'm not saying it didn't, but I've been able to compartmentalize it and put it kind of like in my naturalist worldview and say, yeah, I had a nervous breakdown. I just went through like 2 years against Smokey Saint, and it got really toxic, more toxic than I thought it could ever get with a religious person. you know
And just so I can say on record, I think we can all say, fuck that guy.
yeah, fuck that guy.
He's a pretty toxic dude, so that's understandable.
Yeah, so I've been able to rationalize away the quote unquote experience I had as, yeah, I had some kind of nervous breakdown. I was hearing shit that probably wasn't there. But it did make me realize that I just don't know everything. So I don't think that there's any supernatural deity out there, but like the great mystery, the things that we don't know about the universe, maybe you could call it a god, but it would be a very natural god, right? There's been this term like footed around the atheist community, spiritual atheism, and the thing I don't like about spiritual atheism is it implies woo. I don't get into any kind of woo shit, but like finding spirituality as an adjective again within non-belief of traditional human deity, I think it can be very enlightening. And I take a little bit from Buddhism and Taoism, and different philosophies, and I'm trying to apply it to my life. So I consider myself a theist, but I also consider myself an atheist at the same time. It's very weird. It's very weird. Like I've been considering a return as the raging atheist, but I'm like, I've got to drop the atheist because it's like, not guaranteed. But the
I'm
raging
so
can continue, and I can like rage against Christianity. So
sure. And
Yeah,
I
you don't
mean,
want to do
there's a
that to the
lot.
Christians, because if you went back, then they would say, "Oh, look, he's the
yeah,
raging
yeah,
atheist
I,
again.
I
Oh, look,
can't do that. Yeah,
now
I
he's
just
not the
can't do that.
raging atheist again."
My dad thought though, he truly thought that I was gonna come back, and I'm like, I had to break it to him. I'm like, Dad, it's not gonna happen, dog.
But there's lots of great,
You're
like
probably
we
like a
have,
regular mainline Christian. Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
that happening.
but we have people like in there, not only Beamsy, but Skylar Fiction, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of other great, just, I don't know, pagan or deists, or there's a,
All right, so I'll give you my crazy shit. So this is what I think, but I'm not proselytizing it, and I make room for like this is just how I rationalize the crazy shit that happened to me, right? I think the universe has a spirit. I think the universe is alive. I think that it can speak to us, but it can only speak to us in ways that we understand. So throughout human history, people have understood it different ways, and they've always gotten it wrong because humans are imperfect. We're fucking apes, like we're still figuring out our brain shit. Um, a lot of times we're smarter than we think we are because AI is about to kill us all. So like I don't know. It does get really super weird, but at the same time, like I'm probably fucking wrong.
But can I also
We're all
offer
wrong about
that
something.
you're
Don't
not
feel bad.
you're not wrong, but I want can I ask you, or maybe we all should think, because we are the universe
Yes, I think we're the eyes
being
of the universe.
able to communicate, because we are part of the universe. And so what is different from us, who I think actually fits that category, and is it something else, or is it just us?
No, I think so. I think that we're just really smart primates, that figured a lot of shit out, and the universe understood that, right? Like the Fermi paradox has always confounded me. I'd covered it several times as the raging atheist. How it does appear that the universe is rather empty. Is It's almost like a universe waiting for humanity to spread if we can just figure our shit out, right? Like, so it's like I don't know. It's like the- if you look at how life began, and I'm not an expert in this, I'm no scientist, but just from what I've understood of it, here on Earth is where we've been able to observe it. Life was this very minute thing coming into a world of non-life, and it had to like pretty much bury itself deep underneath the ocean for practically eons so it could like just, I don't know, strengthen, be able to combat. And then over this course of millions of years, life has pretty much taken over this entire planet. And my theory is that that's the natural course of the universe. That's the intention, the purpose of the universe. And we as human beings,
I was with you until you said intention.
I know every atheist is. That's when
It's
when
like
I
he
started
knows
talking
that's the
about,
breaking point.
yeah, when I started talking about intention and purpose, my audience really started calling me out for it, and that's when I really started to really reflect: Am I like this hardcore atheist anymore? Right? Because if you believe in these types of things, then you're believing kind of more than that atheist worldview of we're just these evolutionary creatures. But I still believe we are just these evolutionary creatures. But I think the purpose of the universe was for these evolutionary creatures to be here at this moment of time, to have this decision to make. Now I could be completely wrong about that. I probably am, because I know nothing. And that's my major that's what I've learned through all of this, through the Smoky Saint, Matt Powell, all of that stuff, being the raging atheist for 6 years.
I'll keep on saying
I
it.
know nothing.
I don't know if you know this, but because of the Smoky Saint and you thing, we hired Gilbert Godfrey, and so we can thank you for.
Did you hire him too?
We
We
very
got him on
much.
Cameo.
We got him on Cameo because of that. Because I looked at that video and I was like, "What a waste of
That stupid
money!"
video
Yes,
where they,
For a
I
they
know.
paid Gilbert Gottfried to roast you.
Nacho
An
sushi.
actual child predator, someone who's actually on the registry,
I
paying
didn't know
Gilbert
that about
Gottfried to
him.
roast you.
Oh, I didn't know that about him. That's good to know.
Go
That kind
figure.
of makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah.
considering Smokey Saint and Wilkin K's the biggest pedophile apologist that I've ever met in my entire life. So
And then Khalil is now.
yeah,
Whoosh.
that still blows my mind, Amy. I can't lie. Like, all right, so
Inmate number what?
Khalil, I met Khalil when he was still empathetic atheist, and I came on his show, and I was ambushed by James is Tired and a couple other Christians that were on the show at the time, and I really did not like him. And then he became the Muslim, and I made this video against him, and it went kind of viral, and I was like, all right, cool. And then we talked, and he just trapped me philosophically, so I started to like the guy because he outsmarted me, right? and he comes on my show a couple times, and we're talking. All right, so what led you to Islam? Make me understand, dude, because I just can't understand. And he's actually starting to make me understand. And then the charges come out. This dude is on Facebook messaging me like, "Can I still come on your show, bro? Can I still come on your show?" I'm like, "Fuck no, you can't come on my show. What is wrong with you?" Yeah, that's my little Khalil Allah story.
Yeah.
He'll never take a deal, Amy. He will never plead guilty. He is absolutely innocent.
Exactly. Until
100% innocent.
deal.
I'm pretty sure he's in prison right now talking to his Muslim friends, raising money for when he gets out.
Oh, exactly. Well, he blames it on,
Yeah,
his wife and
persecution because he became a Muslim.
because he became Muslim.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why it's illegal to blank 11-year-old kids because of anti-Muslim hatred.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had me so fooled. I thought he was such a good dude right before the charges came out. And I'm like, I just exposed Smokey and now Khalil. Like, come on now. Yeah,
And that was also right at the height of when we were starting to get Kalam and contingency arguments.
Yeah.
Because I keep on telling James, they have all coalesced to contingency arguments. I don't know why, but they're like all this presuppositional crap.
Yeah, they think it's the end all to everything. And I'm like, dude, this still hasn't gotten me to Allah. It still hasn't gotten me to Jesus or any of the supernatural shit.
Necessary being.
Yeah, the only conclusion I can rationally come to is the universe is natural. It's what we observe. And there's probably plenty of shit out there that we haven't observed yet and we don't understand as natural yet. But guess what? As soon as we observe it, we'll understand it as natural. Like that's just my worldview. And even through a nervous breakdown, I was able to keep that. So I'm pretty thankful for that. Though I do understand a lot of hardcore atheists as I was for so long. I was one of the biggest anti-theists and there was. I know, Amy, because we did the fucking debate,
That was a slavery
get
debate.
you back.
It's gonna be hard for people to understand some of my shit,
I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're still anti-slavery, so I don't think that's changed at all.
I'm still anti-religion as fuck, man.
There you go.
And even though I joke, and I will always say the water is fine if you'd ever like to come back. If you don't, we will always love you. And
I'm definitely coming back.
We are on the inside.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming back. I'm gonna drop the atheist from the name, but it's gonna be the same stuff, right? My life is stabling out. And I think I'm going to be on a more regular schedule, so it won't be 24/7 raging atheist ranting at the world, but I'm definitely going to come back and I'm going to use this channel, the Raging Atheist. It'll probably just be the Raging, something like that. But I've been itching for it. I just kind of rage quit a conversation about Joe Biden, but I enjoyed that conversation so much, and even though I told them all to fuck off, I love them all, and I hope they know that.
Listen, you rage That's
dude.
kind of like part of the slogan.
Like, well, my thinking was, all right, so I'm about to get really toxic with people I pretty much like, so I'm just gonna leave. So I was like, fuck you, I'm out. You know, and
What were they
they
saying
might,
about Biden? Were they saying they think he's doing fine? Just stay the
yeah,
course?
it was like DNC
What's up,
loyalist shit,
Leo?
you know, and it's just like, I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden. I am, without a doubt, lesser of two evils. But there is an argument to be made that if we ever want to teach the DNC a lesson, we're going to have to vote against them at some point. We just
Any
can't,
other
No.
election.
but we just
Any
can't
other
do it when
election.
it's fascism at stake. Exactly, Amy. Yes, exactly.
But they'll always
And-
give you that choice, Amy. There'll never be a time where it's like, okay, they'll always use these wedge issues to.
Honestly, the time was McCain. I'm going to be honest, because he was like the most moderate Republican at the time. So if we were
I
going to
have no
do it, we
question
should have
for
done it then. So now, like, we're gonna have to bide our time. I was watching a Vosh argument earlier. He was arguing against TJ Kirk and the whole deep fried crew, and they actually had my position on this. So I thought I was gonna actually agree with TJ Kirk for the first time in like 10 years, but Vosh destroyed them. He made the argument for Biden like you wouldn't freaking believe, And Vosh is a communist, so. Yeah, I'm advocating go out, vote for Biden because we have to vote against fascism. Our time will come. We just got to wait for the
I
right
agree.
time,
Actual fascism.
Yeah.
If you hear slogans like
y-
anti-fascists are the real fascists, that's because they're trying to make fascism mean nothing.
but
People who want to
yeah.
take your actual freedom. I'm sorry, not.
no, I'm interrupting you. Please continue.
No, it's just I'm very scared about this election because Trump, very specifically, I said it before, that he was a thin-skinned, narcissistic asshole, and everyone said that he was different. And now that he's been in and out, the people who like him, whenever I bring up that he lies, that he cheats, that he steals, they just go, well, that's what every politician does. And you're like, but you told me that guy was fucking different.
Yeah.
No, he's a fucking crook, an actual crook, like almost like a cartoon level crook. And so I'm not.
Come on, Amy.
I
Did you get
just
your
think
degree
this-
from Trump University? I mean, come on.
Oh my god, exactly.
It'll teach you how to do business deals,
So
just like he does.
my argument against Stephanie and not everybody, because Bree was on my side, Cerberus Hex was on my side, but take that as a grain of salt.
I'm on
but-
your side too, then.
Yeah, like my argument isn't don't go vote for Joe Biden. My argument is I'm afraid Joe Biden can't win. And it's just basically because we live in this post-truth era where Americans are stupid and half the country is going to vote for Trump no matter what. Like my greatest fear is that we're going to have the election that we had in 2020 to where Biden, yes, he wins by millions of votes, but electorally it's the slimmest of margins. And when it's the slimmest of margins, anything can turn the tide. And right now, Joe Biden's endorsing genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, and he's losing young voters by the droves. And like my point is this is like right now is the time to move if we're going to move. If we want to defeat fascism and we're suspect of Joe Biden, then we need a stronger candidate. And the issue is that there's not a stronger candidate available, right? So we're in this like conundrum, but I think people need to be speaking out about it and not just playing mum, because if we play mum, fascism's going to win, right? So that's and I think we were talking past each other a lot, and I was getting frustrated because nobody was understanding what I was saying because they all think I'm anti-Biden when I'm not. Like in reality, Biden has done more of his campaign promises than any president has in the last 100 years. He's completed 30% of his campaign promises. That's unheard of. He just doesn't tell people that. And that's not their perception of the country. And that's the problem.
Yeah, it has to be probably a better PR campaign. But I will say,
you've got to have a campaign that hope is on the horizon, because people are feeling it in their wallets, right? Like we can't afford shit. But you got to say, hey, we're fixing it. We passed the Inflation Act. It's working. Give it time. But he's not out there saying it. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just my biggest beef is he's not campaigning with what he's done. And that's allowing the other side to really focus on what he hasn't done or the bad things he's done, like the travesty of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, or the fact that inflation has soared and people can't afford groceries. You know, it's making it easier for Donald Trump. Donald Trump can literally be in prison and pardon himself because he just won the presidency of the United States.
Yeah, unless he's convicted on state crimes, then.
Well, I'm also hoping that there are pushes in different states to see if you can get him off the ballot because he tried to do an insurrection.
Well, yeah, and my
I
greatest
I would put him on
Also-
the ballot. I think he's going to lose.
Hold on one second. No matter how interesting we are, I think we all have to go. At least James and I have to go to bed in 7 minutes.
I do
And-
too. Like, I'm way past my bedtime. Way past it. My biggest fear right now is that Donald Trump is talking about the Marxists and the communists are vermin, and that's fascist talk. That's Hitler talk. I'm a Marxist. I've pretty much been pretty adamant about that for the last couple of years. I don't want to go to a concentration camp. And right now it's like he's beating Biden by 1. In an election, we need to have a scale. Biden needs to be up by 6 right now to have a chance to win. And we're down by 1. That's
I'll
tragic.
give you more hope.
Tragic.
This
I don't wanna
happened
be in a
in
concentration
other elections. I'm pretty sure Obama was the same thing about this time with
He
people
was.
like Romney.
Yeah, he was.
And
yeah.
so, although it's like this now, what I think people are going to see is they're going to see that right now, it's kind of like you're flirting. You have all these options, you have all this time, and you have all this, but eventually it's going to coalesce.
I think he needs to make a hard turn on the
frack.
Palestine issue. If he makes a hard turn on the Palestine issue, I think he has a chance. I just don't
That
think he
issue
will.
is so hard. I'm going to stand by my issue, which is it's all about religion. If religion was not involved in that, they would be brothers and sisters. I'm going to maintain that position.
But every human being has a right to govern themselves. Every people has a right to govern themselves, and I think the Palestinian people deserve that. And they need to get away from Hamas without a doubt, but they haven't really had a choice in the past 20 years. Hamas is they were propped up by the Israeli government, and now we need to stand strong. We can't allow a genocide to happen.
Which is one thing I think people are like, why didn't Mossad see this coming? Well, maybe they did. Maybe they said, hey, this is our chance. Let it happen. And then,
I don't know. I don't know about that.
That's in
you think
conspiracy
they let
land,
people get killed?
I think they wanted it to happen so they can do exactly what they're doing right now. And
that is not true.
I could be wrong. I want the Israeli people to have their state, to be free and to be happy, and I want the Palestinians to have their state and to be free and to be happy. That's all I want.
Those things. I want all those people. All I want is for all those civilians and all the people who just want to live their lives.
Yeah,
all I want is for them to be happy.
Yeah.
That I will also maintain.
But I think Joe Biden is losing the left with the Palestinian issue, and I think he needs to do a hard turn, and I think he can win the election if he does. But he's got to get out. He's got to campaign.
Yeah. Be interesting to
see.
He
doesn't have to cater to the left. He has the left. That's why we never get anything done, because Obama realized he's got the left. Biden realized he's got the left. He doesn't have to do anything for them because they're already voting for him.
And it's because we're smart enough to know like what we're up against. And
right.
I hope that I hope the American people will do the right thing, and I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong as hell. I just don't trust the American people.
Well, I agree with you there. I am extremely scared because Like we flirt with danger, and I get
Yeah.
it. You know, like I drive over the speed limit, and yet this is like something that's like it's a flirting with like should we have the country or not? I know they don't see it that way,
No,
and yet
I'm
I
terrified
don't
for
know.
all of us. So like I'm a Marxist. You're trans, Amy. Like they're gonna come after us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'm. We cannot lose this fucking election. We
Almost
cannot.
anyone who disagrees with them, they are coming after.
Yeah. We cannot lose. And we were talking, Pat. So I would like to, if they're watching or if they hear this eventually, I do apologize for being rage, but I do get passionate about this.
Rage does sometimes rage.
Yes, I do.
Rage gonna
But all right,
rage.
y'all need to go to bed. I need to go to bed.
Yes,
So
in fact, so here
Thanks
we
so much,
go.
Doc. Good to
What
have
this
you on.
is. Thank you for coming on. And what we'll do, in fact, you started the open mic, which means you can end the open mic. Thank you for coming on, Knock. I hope you had a fun time.
I
What are your
did.
final thoughts on the topic, and where can people find you?
I always love talking to you, Amy, and you, James, and yeah, I would just say people love each other, man. We're all human beings. We're all apes figuring this shit out. Um, you will be able to find me again on the Raging Atheist. It's still the Raging Atheist. I'll probably just be the Raging when I do come back. But I'm gonna try to do this more often. Jump into streams, argue with people, get along with people when I can, and just be rage and just be me. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and I always enjoy the conversation with you, Amy. It's always been fun.
Thank you
Good to
so
have you on,
much,
Knock.
Knock. And all right, you should check out the Raging Atheist or the Rage. You should check out Knock because he is amazing.
Thank you.
And with that, we are gonna hand it over to the co-pilot and end this the plane. Though our planes actually land in where they're supposed to. That was a really cheap shot joke, but you know what? I don't know. They did it. So what can I tell you? Skeptic and Ranting. Jesus will return soon. It has been fun. James, your final thoughts.
Yeah. I didn't write anything, so go ahead. That's a Saturday Night Live reference. But, yeah. Thanks, guys, for watching the show. Thank you for coming on talking to us. And Jesus, not back anytime soon because he never came in the fucking first place. Real. Get over.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo. Thank you so much, James. And all right. With that, I want to thank you all for joining us on this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Jesus will return soon? Because, I ordered 2,000 years ago, but, okay. Where we watched a video from the channel Tipping Point with Jimmy Evans about the subject of
Bob
will
Evans?
Jesus.
Breakfast?
Yes. Very specifically, it's the guy when you're home, your family, unless you're the guy on
Bob
the
Evans.
cross. Listen, it's my dad's favorite restaurant, and I have to admit, I like Bob Evans, which is it's a good value. Okay.
I love Bob Evans.
It's a good deal.
There you go. See? Good deal. Endless mocha, whatever the fucks.
All day.
Exactly. And McDonald's, you need to go back to breakfast all day. Okay.
Yes.
COVID is over.
I need my egg McMuffins at 4.
Yeah, that's never
Exactly.
coming back. That's like Walmart being 24 hours. Like, they'll never do that shit again. It's like they had
But
an
it was
excuse to
so
kill
great.
it, and it's dead. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Well, my joke used to be at McDonald's because when they did 24/7, I was like, if you are serving breakfast all day, that actually means you are a breakfast place. But I was okay with that. Bring me, like I said, bring me all of those sausage McMuffins. Okay.
Well,
anyway,
I always thought it was silly, though. I always thought it was silly, though. McDonald's sells more hamburgers than any place else in the world, right? You could go there 24 hours and get Egg McMuffin. But if you wanted a burger before 10:30 or 11, they would look at you like you had 5 heads. Like, what do you mean? We only
So
sell
we can solve
burgers at
this.
lunchtime.
But James, we can solve this problem. This means they
You
need to
get
serve
any muffin
everything
anytime, but you can't get a
at
burger.
all hours.
What they're
Yeah.
known for.
Okay.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Everything.
So exactly,
We're a
you need to
chronic capitalist
basically.
country. We work all hours of the day.
You can become the cheapest diner right here. You can outsell Waffle House, which they're smoking right
Oh,
now.
I don't know
saying
about
that.
that.
Side of
I don't know
bacon.
about that.
Just give Amy an extra side of bacon and she'll be down.
Ooh.
She is down for the bacon.
I'm pretty
You
sure.
might outsell Waffle House, but you'll never outdo the Waffle House fights at 4 a.m.
That's very true.
Get those smothered uncovered hash browns. Come on.
My goodness, it is such a. But you go in there and you read the menu, and you're like, you can get how much food for this? There's no way that's legal. Or where
Heart
are these
attack,
eggs even
stroke,
coming
Combo
from?
where you get both. You get a heart attack and a stroke, Ken Hovind style.
Oh my god.
Dude, I remember when you could get stoned and go in Taco Bell and spend $10 and just like burst from so much food, and now it's like you get a few burritos.
$12 for a couple tacos.
Now listen, I don't eat Taco Bell a lot, but I've seen this news, so I'm passing it on. Taco
don't
Bell
eat
is
Taco Bell.
going to start offering, talking about subscriptions, they're going to offer like a taco chip pass where like you buy for like $10 and then they like give you chips. They give you nacho chips once a day. They will
Shit.
feed.
Not you can't go wrong with nacho chips. I just wouldn't recommend their like meat. I
Listen,
worked at Taco Bell when I was 18. That was nasty shit.
really?
Yeah.
Listen, I was Burger King. It's okay.
I mean, it works great as a
Oh,
laxative.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying not to make that
Yeah.
joke, and then it's just right there.
Yeah, it's
But
Taco Bell.
all
Yeah.
of that fast.
Taco
But
Hell.
Jesus, was he coming back?
Can
On
I
this
get more
episode-
fire sauce? Lake of fire sauce.
I mean, Jesus is definitely here on the planet several times over. So yeah, I mean, there's Jesuses here, I guess.
I was gonna say there's Jesus, my yoga teacher.
Amy's yoga instructor, yeah.
There's
That's
a couple
right.
cults that think that Jesus is back and that
She
their
loves
leader,
working on her
Oh
downward
my
dog.
God.
you know, like screwing their daughters is Jesus.
You just need to tell them you're Jesus. So they just tell them you're a prophet, and then you're
Yeah, I
in.
thought about it. Like, so when I stopped being the raging atheist, I was like, I'm just going to become a grifter and see how much money I can raise from Christians. And then I'm like, no, I'm a moral person, you know.
And you're like, oh, Scientology did it. Damn it.
Oh, I was
No.
watching Danny Masterson shit last night on YouTube. Fuck Scientology.
No, you'll see.
Yeah, indeed.
5 years,
Fuck
you'll see.
Scientology.
You'll see Smokey Saint with a full beard telling Christians to bring their young daughters to him. He will make sure they get to heaven.
He'll say,
Yeah, he
please,
came back.
Chuck E.
That's-
Cheese.
I left because he came back.
Really?
Yeah, he's been on.
Is he back?
He's been on with Will Kincaid. I don't know if he
I've
still is.
Seen
but
him
like,
on once in a while.
yeah, when I stop streaming, I'm like, all right, I just can't. I got to get away because I'll get sucked right back in, you know. So that's why I stopped streaming, you know, is because Smokey came back.
Yeah. Makes it
Theo
personal,
let him
even
back
though
on
he's
mine,
a
huh?
piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, he literally led me to a nervous breakdown. I can't do that again. I just can't. I'm gonna leave that to the other atheists of the world. He can be their fodder.
Also, you hear what you said there. You heard it. Anyway, I do want to thank my co-hosts, James W. I'm just kidding. Whatever you believe in.
Yes, let's go to bed.
And our panel tonight. Do.
Kasuchi.
Drum roll, please.
Woo! That's right. As well as the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great, and fantastic viewers like you who make this channel even possible.
Indeed, you do.
If you enjoy the show, please like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. I hear it in my sleep. No. Sonny and Cher. I cannot fit any more dad jokes
Thanks,
into
Ian.
this. Sending love, Ian. I can't even see it. I just sending love. And or hey, why not leave a comment once the video's done? We no longer do the voice, James, because the person we did the voice for, they like disappeared off the grid.
Give him a month, he'll be back. He comes back every so often. He's still on
I want to make a
MDD
joke.
chat.
Really? But I won't. I'm gonna be nice.
I once in a while see him on MDD. Titan might have been banned from our chat.
That's probably most likely too. Sending love to Titan. He's out there. How do I know? Titan's everywhere. Anyway, you can also leave a super thanks. Sending love to all the people who left super chats. And you can check us out in the Skeptic and Ranting Discord. I'll send into the thing. It's in the description. The amount of sleep that we are gonna get. Okay. Here's that. As I said, I wanted it to grow. Boom. All the clicking and clacking involved. Everyone loves opposite ASMR.
Every penny worth the clickety clackety.
I know. I have to get my nails done, though. I love mechanical keyboards. That's where it really comes from. Though we have fantastic channel members in our description below. They trigger creationists because they evolve with time, which they say we worship, but that makes no sense. It's also getting warmer. I'm just pointing that out. I pointed it out in the middle of the show. It's just getting warmer. Wow. Why is that? It's November. That's okay. It's probably fine. There's a shirt. It's like everything's okay. Anyway, and the best way, the final thing, the shilling, the best way to help us is by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman. This has been our fantastic panel, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Say goodnight, and we'll say goodnight. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Pressing.